Chapter 496. The tattooing process was long and painful, but Li Fan was able to endure it. In the end, he even fell asleep. When he was woken up, the tattooing on his back was already completed. Tyrant Xiangyu, tiger subduing with one hand. His entire back and legs were covered with this beautiful tattoo. On Li Fan's shoulder, there was a tattoo of the word tyrant. This was very suitable for his title of a tyrant. How long have I been asleep? Li Fan looked at the two mirrors and admired his tattoo. The tattoo was slowly fading and soon, it disappeared from Li Fan's back. From the outside, it looked like Li Fan had never had a tattoo before. About 10 hours. The beautiful attendant said, "Your match is about to begin." Okay. Li Fan stood up and stretched his muscles and bones. He had to do what he had agreed with the Phoenix King. Please enter the arena from here. The beautiful attendant led Li Fan into the passage and said, "I wish you good luck." Thank you. Li Fan put on a scarlet cloak, walked out of the lounge through the passage, and went outside. The surrounding audience was filled with excited people. When they saw Li Fan, they did not seem to be very enthusiastic. After all, Li Fan was still a newcomer to them. In particular, Li Fan looked very young, just like a student, which made them lose interest. A man walked over from the opposite side. He was tall, and his muscles were as firm as rocks. He looked very shocking. A colorful tiger was tattooed on his chest. It was eager as if it was about to pounce out. Our new friend's luck is not too good today. The host's voice echoed in the arena. He met our tiger killer, Steven. This is a famous genetic warrior. He has been injected with the angel gene and has extraordinary strength. Angel gene. Is there any connection between this and the virus X that Sam asked me to transport? From the sound of it, it sounded like something that could strengthen the human body. There is no doubt that humans have great potential. Huaxia used martial arts to stimulate people's potential. Cultivating both internal and external cultivation to break through the limits of human beings. Foreigners seem to like using genetic engineering to improve human abilities. Needless to say, their method was somewhat successful. This guy was very strong. The muscles on his body emitted a bronze luster, which was very eye-catching. With such perfect muscles, it was impossible not to notice. Brat, today you will die in the hands of a fierce tiger. The man shouted at Li Fan in broken Chinese. Give it a try. Li Fan jumped into the cage-like arena from above, and the surrounding people booed at him. However, Li Fan's expression was very indifferent. When he first arrived on Su Chen's ship, he was also ridiculed like this. At that time, he was still very hot-blooded, but at this moment, Li Fan was much calmer. Because he knew that now was not the time to be hot-blooded. He had to quickly defeat the 3 opponents and find information about his 2 brothers. That was the most important thing. Can you hear the cheers around you? Steven laughed. It's all for me. And what belongs to you will only be ridicule. Cut the crap. Bring it on. Li Fan took off the cloak on his body, revealing a slender body that was not very fit. The muscles on his body were not exaggerated, nor were they protruding, but every part of his body was perfect. Under his well-balanced muscles, there was a terrifying power hidden. This was Li Fan, a martial artist. Go to hell, brat. As Steven spoke, a palm the size of a cattail Li Fan grabbed at Li Fan. However, Li Fan did not dodge. Instead, he leaned forward and grabbed Steven's arm. Then, with a beautiful shoulder throw, Steven's huge body was forcibly dragged to the arena floor. Bang! Steven spat out a mouthful of bitter saliva. It was obvious that the fall was not light. How is this possible? Steven was also thick-skinned. Although he was thrown, he quickly got up. He stood up again and looked at Li Fan condescendingly. This arena was different from Su Chen's ship. The area was very small, only less than 30 square meters. The space for two people to coexist was very small, which forced them to fight constantly. When Li Fan threw Steven to the ground, it caused the surrounding audience to exclaim. They could not imagine that there was such a huge power hidden in this small man's body. The floor must have been too slippery just now, and I accidentally slipped. Steven muttered, "You little fly, I'm going to pinch you to death now." As he spoke, he reached out to grab Li Fan again. However, Li Fan used the same trick and once again smashed Steven's huge body to the ground. The surrounding audience was stunned for a moment, then they began to whisper to each other. This kid who looked thin and weak didn't seem to be that weak. This strong and sturdy tiger killer was actually being played around by a small man. Although Li Fan was not considered short, compared to this tiger killer, Steven, he was indeed a small man. I want to win 3 rounds, so I'm sorry. As Li Fan spoke, he directly grabbed the strong Steven and threw him out. Clang! Steven's body smashed into the iron net next to him and he directly fainted. Not exciting enough, Phoenix King. Li Fan stood in the arena, stretched out a finger, and said loudly, "Give me something more exciting. Satisfy him." Phoenix King sat in his VIP room with a pipe in his mouth and said with a smile. Soon, a 3-meter-tall brown bear was sent into the arena. Li Fan blinked his eyes. Damn, it really is a brown bear. Phoenix King, you're really ruthless. Li Fan really couldn't help but want to spit it out. However, looking at the brown bear in front of him that had been hungry for a day, Li Fan's desire to fight was aroused. Roar! The host's shout, the audience's noise, and the brown bear's roar mixed together, impacting Li Fan's eardrums. This brown bear completely stood up. It was already more than 3 meters, close to 4 meters. Such a big guy. Li Fan felt that it was a little too big. The brown bear swung its paw at Li Fan, bringing with it the whistling sound of the wind. Li Fan did not want to face the power of a brown bear head-on. However, Li Fan is Li Fan. He has the gene to not admit defeat. Li Fan roared, and his body began to swell. Bear! Mount! Army! Almost in an instant, Li Fan's body grew to 2 meters tall, his muscles bulged, and the overlord subduing the tiger painting appeared behind him. Come, young master, I'll play with you. Chapter 497. How strong was the strength of a bear? They could easily tear apart a human's body. And the angry slap of the brown bear in front of him was enough to turn a person into minced meat. However, Li Fan also swung his palm. A black bear slapped the door, meeting the palm of the brown bear. Bang! The brown bear and Li Fan each took a step back, and a wave of energy blasted them away. Li Fan had defeated a huge King Kong in the past. Now, defeating a hungry brown bear was nothing. Li Fan and the brown bear clashed head-on and fought crazily. The surrounding audience was dumbfounded. This was a living person. At this moment, he was actually fighting with a huge brown bear. Li Fan did not use too much true energy. He only relied on his powerful physical strength to fight the brown bear. Li Fan needed to break through his external strength. He relied on the bear cavalry's martial arts to fight with the brown bear for a long time. Whether it was his palm or his beating, he could not seriously injure the brown bear. The other party's skin was rough and thick, so he did not care about his attacks at all. It was like 2 wild bears fighting. In the end, both of them would be injured. Wait, Li Fan felt like he understood something. The 2 bears were fighting, but he was a human. 7 heroes fished. What was the limit of the 7 heroes fished? The limit of the 7 heroes fished was that he had always limited his thoughts to animals. Beyond the thoughts of animals, he had to comprehend the abilities of humans. Imitation only made him become like an animal. As for humans, humans had a way to defeat animals. Overlord subduing the tiger. That was the feeling. Transcend the 7 heroes fished and become a true emperor among men. The brown bear had already pounced in front of Li Fan, as if it wanted to tear Li Fan to pieces. Li Fan grabbed the brown bear's head with one hand, lifted it up, and pulled it behind him. Li Fan's arm suddenly swelled and was about 3 times thicker than usual. The brown bear seemed to have sensed some kind of danger. It wanted to roar and roar, but its face was pinched tightly as if it was clamped by iron pincers. It couldn't make any sound. 7 brilliance fished. Li Fan's eyes lit up. Subdued bear. Li Fan's arm grabbed the brown bear and slammed it onto the floor in front of him. Boom! A huge pit was smashed on the floor, and brown bear's body was embedded in it. He had already fainted. Not exciting enough. Li Fan's blood was boiling, and the overlord subduing the tiger painting behind him was getting clearer and clearer. Good, very good. The Phoenix King nodded in satisfaction. Send the 3rd opponent to him. Boom! The arena's floor began its own renovation and was soon replaced with a new layer. Another man was sent in, but this man looked very familiar to Li Fan. He was wearing a silver-white armor with the Storm logo on it. Not bad, we meet again. Warhammer moved his armor a bit and then looked at Li Fan with a smile. I really didn't expect to meet in this place. I thought it would be a more romantic place. Li Fan suddenly didn't know what to say. He actually met his mortal enemy in the Yellow Springs. It was really unexpected. It seems that your strength has improved again. But it's also good. My armor has received some new training. Warhammer was a chatterbox. Li Fan had already seen it. All right. I know you like to talk. Li Fan was a bit fed up with this Warhammer. If you want to fight, hurry up and fight. I still have other things to deal with. It's not easy to reunite. Don't you want to chat more? Warhammer took out a small syringe filled with some kind of silver liquid. This thing is called Angel. It is a kind of genetic medicine that is currently circulating in the black market. He said to Li Fan. These are just some defective products. High-level Angel is said to be able to awaken the true genetic potential of humans. You rely on these to strengthen yourself. Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. If you have the ability, then take off your clothes and fight. I don't have your ability. Warhammer shrugged. My armor is my protection. You've seen Iron Man, right? When did Iron Man ever fight with his shirt off? Come on, that's how Iron Man fights. Only the Hulk fights with his bare arms. Are you done? Li Fan asked while digging his ears. My ears have grown calluses. I like to drink a glass of whiskey before fighting. Warhammer looked at the surrounding iron mesh cage. It seems that I can't drink here for the time being. What a pity. If you don't want to fight, you can admit defeat. Of course, I want to fight. Warhammer said hurriedly, I'm here to make some extra money. Oh, by the way, some bosses bet a lot of money on me. Why don't you just admit defeat and I'll ask them to give you a sum of money too? Then I'm sorry. Li Fan clenched his fists. What I need now is not money. You made the wrong choice. Warhammer sighed. It seems that I can only take your life in advance. With that, his helmet covered his cheeks. Then, his body suddenly sprang forward. A chainsaw popped out from his wrist and stabbed toward Li Fan. The warhammer's speed was extremely fast, almost as if it was a jet. Li Fan stood there, unmoved. At this time, Warhammer was like a tiger pouncing on its prey. Li Fan remembered Luo Xiaofeng's words. Everyone has a weakness. All things are like this. The moment Warhammer launched his attack, he revealed his weakness. Li Fan was not in a hurry to attack. He was not precise enough. Thus, he chose to dodge. Zee-la-la. Warhammer's chainsaw cut through the barbed wire beside him, creating a large hole in the barbed wire. Little friend, do you want to play hide and seek? Warhammer laughed and fired 2 arrows at the barbed wire. These arrows seemed to have electrodes, directly connecting the iron mesh to some kind of high-voltage electricity. The cage is very small. It seems that it is not suitable for hide and seek. Warhammer smiled and then pounced toward Li Fan. The chainsaw aimed at Li Fan's head. However, Li Fan did not move. He waited for Warhammer to arrive in front of him. 7 Brilliance Fist. Beating Tiger. The moment his opponent's attack fell on him, Li Fan slightly lowered his body and used the fastest method to punch. Li Fan's fist landed on Warhammer's defenseless body. Bang! Warhammer's body flew out and slammed into the electrified iron mesh behind him. The electric shock caused him to scream and he fell down. If Warhammer did not bounce back to the ring in time, he would have been electrocuted into charcoal. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. You are right. This place is very small. Chapter 498. Warhammer readjusted his state and the armor on his body spurted out some energy. Then, he slowly stood up and re-examined Li Fan in front of him. Mysterious Eastern Kung Fu, Warhammer looked at Li Fan and analyzed Li Fan's battle power on the display screen. However, Li Fan's battle power was only 50. This was the battle power that a normal person should have after training their body. His battle power was 350, and the armor and the angel greatly enhanced his ability. How could Li Fan only have 50 battle power? That ancient Chinese true qi did not seem to be within the system's analysis data. This kind of battle analysis thing was really unreliable. Warhammer readjusted his state and then stretched out his right hand. An air cannon burst out from the palm of his hand. This was his only means of weapon attack. Before entering the stage, because firearms were not allowed, the weapon system on his body had been temporarily removed. However, even this air cannon's power was very amazing. Li Fan sensed danger. The moment the air began to distort, he pulled away and circled behind Warhammer with a black afterimage. Bang! Warhammer's air cannon tore apart a large piece of barbed wire behind him. Warhammer quickly turned around and aimed the air cannon at Li Fan, who was in front of him. Bang! Warhammer's firing speed was very fast and he almost did not need any reserves. The system on his wrist could quickly compress air and then form an artillery shell. Li Fan's body was torn apart by this air cannon. Warhammer was overjoyed but soon felt that something was wrong. Because Li Fan's hand was already on his waist from behind. 7 Brilliance Fist. Play Ape. Li Fan used his unique footwork to create a realistic afterimage in front of Warhammer. The moment Warhammer thought that he had crushed Li Fan had already made a move behind him. Wild Bear Embracing Tree. Li Fan hugged Warhammer's body by the waist. At the same time, he leaned back and performed a beautiful back throw, smashing Warhammer's body into the ground. Before Warhammer could react, Li Fan had already turned around and lifted Warhammer's steel body into the air. Bear King raises the cauldron. Li Fan bent his knees, raised his Warhammer and jumped up. Then, he pressed down on the body of the Warhammer with both hands. With the force of his fall, he smashed him into the ground once again. Bang! Another large crater was formed in the ground, and Warhammer was seeing stars. He felt his vision darken, and his whole body was in pain. The system's voice echoed in his ears. Damage level, 60%. Thrusters lost contact. In just 2 moves, more than half of his armor had been destroyed. Warhammer was dumbfounded. How was he supposed to play? They weren't even on the same level. If he wanted to deal with Li Fan, he could only get a stronger armor or use a higher-grade angel potion. Most importantly, this place wasn't suitable for hunting. In such a narrow space, it was as if he was the prey. I surrender. Warhammer directly announced his surrender. According to the rules of the arena, the one who announced his surrender would receive unconditional protection, and the other contestant was not allowed to attack. Li Fan, the next time we meet, I will hunt you down. Warhammer dragged his damaged armor and walked out of the cage. Before leaving, he didn't forget to leave some harsh words for Li Fan. Before I hunt you, don't get caught by others. Wait. Li Fan still had a big doubt in his heart. Who is the spy you guys sent to my side? Ha, who knows? Warhammer laughed. You have never been safe. With that, Warhammer turned around and left the arena, leaving Li Fan alone to ponder. This damned storm mercenaries, they are really patient. Who is the spy hiding beside me? These matters gave Li Fan a headache, but now that the 3 matches were over and he fulfilled his promise, the rest was up to Phoenix King. Li Fan returned to his original size, and the Overlord's subduing tiger painting on his back slowly disappeared. But when he left, the audience was cheering excitedly, chanting his name in unison. After 3 matches, Li Fan had left his name here. You fought really well. Phoenix King sat in front of his desk and looked at Li Fan with a smile. If you are interested in the future, you can come here to fight a few more matches. My arena's door will always be open for you. I am not interested, you just need to give me the information. Li Fan didn't want to come to this place to fight, he had more important things to do. I have fulfilled my promise, now it's your turn, Phoenix King. Don't worry, Phoenix King will grant your request. The Phoenix King laughed. Since we've agreed on it, I'll naturally do it. With that, he clapped his hands, and a map appeared on the big screen behind him. Speaking of your 2 brothers, there is actually nothing wrong. They are currently on the Luoma Ancient Road, staying in a small inn called Entai. Why are they staying there? Li Fan was surprised. This is another piece of information, if you want to know, I will have to pay extra. Damn, you unscrupulous merchant. All merchants are unscrupulous. Phoenix King didn't deny it. You fought well today, I am very satisfied, and you have earned quite a bit of money. In the future, the gates of Yellow Springs will always be open for you. Li Fan felt that he couldn't be happy. This is for you. Phoenix King passed a jade pendant with a phoenix imprinted on it to Li Fan. What is this? This is my keepsake, and also the pass to Yellow Springs. Phoenix King seemed to have a good impression of Li Fan. In the future, if you want to enter Yellow Springs, use this. Our agreement ends here. Go and see your friend. Phoenix King sent the map to Li Fan's phone, and then chased Li Fan out of his office. This was not important. Li Fan put on his clothes and hurriedly went to find Tian. This little girl who accompanied him to Yellow Springs was currently sleeping soundly in the resting room. When she was woken up by Li Fan, she sleepily sat up. Brotherly. You're back. And, sorry for disturbing your sleep. Li Fan himself had slept for a while, and Tian must have waited for him for a long time before falling asleep. It's okay. Tian was just a little bored, so she fell asleep. Brotherly, did you get the information? N. Li Fan nodded his head, and then passed the night luminescent pearl to Enchanting. Take this back and tell Muronging, I am going to Luoma Ancient Road with the transportation of Yellow Springs. Ah, Tian wants to accompany Brotherly, Tian hurriedly said. Sister Murong told me to follow Brotherly, I must be inseparable. Chapter 499. Li Fan and Enchanting were rushing to the Peace Inn on the Luoma Ancient Road. Meanwhile, Guan Wenbao and Yen Kai were sulking in the inn. Old Guan sat in front of the table, wiping his crescent blade over and over again. Are you done yet? Yen Kai finally couldn't hold it in any longer and exploded. You've already scraped 8 pieces of cloth off this knife. Sharpening the blade won't delay the work of cutting firewood. Old Guan was calm. This blade is my second life. I should take good care of it. Take care of my ass. Guan Wenbao snapped. We've lost our darts. What's the point of taking care of a broken blade? The Sima family doesn't lack money. Guan Wenbao calmly analyzed the situation. This is Quan Jin's carp leaping over the dragon gate. Even if they wanted to go, it wouldn't be of much use. I'm afraid that the Sima family wants our heads. The Sima family is powerful. Yen Kai looked out of the window. There were many people walking to and fro on the street. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. The incident happened a long time ago, yet they've blocked all information. This is not a good thing for the Sima family. Guan Wenbao looked up and saw a figure on the opposite building. That person seemed to be glancing at him. The Sima family won't let this go if we don't take our darts. I really can't explain to Li Fan now. Yen Kai was vexed. If we can't get our darts back, how can we face Li Fan? Let's get through tonight first. Guan Wenbao polished his crescent blade. They'll definitely come tonight. Ha! They've come 7 or 8 times this month. Yen Kai couldn't help but sneer. Every time they come, we'll do it. This time, there should be some experts. Guan Wenbao guessed. The Sima family can't wait any longer. This time, we'll catch someone and ask him where he took our darts. Yen Kai was determined. If he couldn't get his darts back, he wouldn't be able to explain to Li Fan. He was even more ashamed to see Li Fan. Well, it's almost dark. Shouldn't you go back to your room to sleep? Guan Wenbao placed his crescent moon blade to the side and glared at Yen Kai. Ah, I'll sleep with you. What a joke. Guan Wenbao almost exploded. We don't have much money left. How can we afford 2 rooms? Yen Kai explained in a serious manner, but Guan Wenbao felt that it was particularly awkward. No, I'd rather sleep in the stable. Cold sweat broke out on Guan Wenbao's back. Rather than sleeping in the same room with Yen Kai, he might as well stab him. Even the circle of tombs was more peaceful than sleeping by Yen Kai's side. You're hurting our brotherhood. Yen Kai was silent for a moment, then said. Sleeping by your side doesn't hurt my feelings, but it hurts my chrysanthemum. Guan Wenbao picked up his crescent blade and was about to walk out the door. But at this moment, the lights in the inn suddenly went out. It was already night time, and now it was pitch black. Only the moonlight shone in from the window. Look, the lights are out. Let's rest early. Yen Kai smiled, and Guan Wenbao kicked him. Idiot, they're here. The sound of footsteps came from the surroundings. It was very light, but it still reached their ears. Guan Wenbao picked up his crescent blade, and Yen Kai also pulled out the sword at his waist. The 2 of them stood back to back, waiting for the enemy to come. Soon, arrows suddenly shot in from the window, shooting at the 2 of them. Dang, dang, dang. Guan Wenbao waved the crescent blade in his hand and flicked the arrows away. A few black-clothed men broke in from the door, holding long blades in their hands, and slashed at the two of them. "You're disturbing our world." Yan Kai let go of the sword in his hand and threw it away. But the sword carried the power of yin and yang. It actually sucked the long blades in the hands of the black-clothed men and stuck them on the sword. With this move, everyone's weapons were removed, except for Guan Wenbao's. The black-clothed men did not hesitate and attacked Yan Kai with their bare hands. But what Yan Kai was best at was one against many. His Tai Chi power could be used to its greatest effect at this time. When the black-clothed men's fists and kicks landed on Yan Kai's body, he transferred the power of these people to their companions. The more people hit Yan Kai, the braver he became. The two of them cooperated and knocked down all the black-clothed men. No matter how many black-clothed men there were, they were unable to hurt the two of them. A bunch of trash. A man walked in from outside the door. This man was called Sima Tian, a member of the Sima family. His martial arts were not bad, and he was extremely ambitious. He wanted to take down Guan Wenbao and Yan Kai and report back to his family. These two people were the capital for him to make a contribution in the Sima family. Sima Tian looked at the two people in front of him and only treated them as his bounty. "It's been so many days and you can't even deal with two trash. You even want me to personally take action." As Sima Tian spoke, he pulled out a short sword from his back. The Sima family was unique. They were good at using a short sword. Together with their unique monarch palm technique and 9 swords of bliss, they were truly powerful. "Be careful, this person is an expert," Guan Wenbao reminded Yan Kai. "Don't worry, it's just people from the Sima family. This Dao doesn't put them in my eyes." As Yan Kai spoke, he pointed at Sima Tian. "What are you hesitating for? Come and play." Courting death. How arrogant was Sima Tian? How could he sit and wait for Yan Kai's ridicule? This person leaped and his entire body was like a shadow in the night. In an instant, he crossed a distance and appeared in front of Yan Kai. At the same time, the short sword pierced towards Yan Kai's neck. No matter how profound Yan Kai's Taiji art was, if his neck was stabbed, he would still die obediently. However, a crescent moon blade came from behind and collided with Sima Tian's short blade, causing Sima Tian's short blade to be deflected. At the same time, Yan Kai's palm had already landed on Sima Tian's lower abdomen, sending Sima Tian flying. Sima Tian's body slid a distance in the air and slowly landed on the ground. "You have some ability," Sima Tian said. "However, the game ends here." He was very confident. He was a member of the Sima family. Wouldn't dealing with 2 juniors of the pugilistic world be a piece of cake? Sima Tian gripped the short sword tightly and entered a battle stance. Once again, he shot towards the two of them. These two people would definitely die under his sword today. Sima Tian's 9 swords of bliss was as fast as a shadow, heading straight for the space between Yan Kai's eyebrows. In the blink of an eye, Sima Tian had already arrived in front of Yan Kai. Guan Wenbao chased after him with his blade but was sent flying by Sima Tian's monarch palm. As for the short sword, Yan Kai placed his palm on the sword and pulled it to the side, causing Sima Tian's short sword to stab into the wall at the side. Total annihilation. Guan Wenbao's crescent moon blade had already swept over. Chapter 500. Sima Tian turned pale with fright. His waist twisted extremely, wanting to dodge this saber. But what kind of person was Guan Wenbao? How could his saber be so easy to dodge? Although Sima Tian's movement technique was not bad, his waist was still grazed by this saber. Pfft! Dark red blood burst out from Sima Tian's waist. He cried out miserably, clutching his waist, and looked at Guan Wenbao and Yan Kai opposite him with uncontrollable rage. The two of you actually dare to injure me. My skills are inferior, so what if I injure you? Guan Wenbao curled his lips, clearly very disdainful towards the Sima Tian. Guan Wenbao had always worshipped the strong, like Li Fan. But for people like Sima Tian who only relied on their wealth and glib tongues, Guan Wenbao did not fancy them at all. What are you guys still standing there for? Hurry up and attack. Sima Tian let out a scream. His waist was in severe pain, and his anger made him burn. He wholeheartedly wanted to kill these two people, lift their heads, and settle the fire in his heart. Bring it on. When Guan Wenbao wielded the crescent moon blade in his hand, he was like a man holding the pass. 10,000 could not get through. Even if it was a group of black-clothed men in front of him, he was not the slightest bit afraid. This Sima family's brat is so noisy. This grandpa will help you capture him. As he spoke, Yan Kai leaped forward and pounced towards Sima Tian. Stop him. Sima Tian let out a scream, and the surrounding black-clothed men immediately came forward, attempting to stop Yan Kai. Yan Kai did not care about them, and he pounced straight towards Sima Tian. While Guan Wenbao wielded the crescent moon blade and escorted Yan Kai, slapping the surrounding black-clothed men away. Although Yan Kai and Guan Wenbao's personalities were incompatible, when they worked together, there were no flaws. In practically a few moves, the black-clothed men were all swept away, and Yan Kai also grabbed Sima Tian's head. Sima Tian endured the pain and pulled out his short sword, wanting to counterattack, but Yan Kai used the power of Taiji and snatched the short sword away instead. With your skills, you don't need to use a dagger. Yan Kai mocked, it's an insult to your family's 9 swords of bliss. How dare you? Sima Tian roared, what do you dare to do to me? I'm a member of the Sima family. Sima Tian still relied on his identity and roared at Yan Kai and the rest. That's great. Yan Kai grinned, we can use your dog life to exchange for our things. With that, Yan Kai kicked the unconscious man in black next to him to wake him up. Go back and tell your patriarch that if he wants Sima Tian's life, he has to return our Fiefan escort agency's escort within 3 days. Otherwise, let people come over and collect Sima Tian's corpse. After detaining Sima Tian, Yan Kai sent these black-clothed men away. You idiots! Sima Tian was tied up and thrown to one side. Guan Wenbao personally looked after him. Sima Tian was still very arrogant. He sat there and said loudly, you guys don't even know how big of a mistake you have made. You rascal, you're really annoying. Yan Kai curled his lips and kicked Sima Tian, if you continue to bullshit, this grandpa will explode your head. Idiot! Don't you know how terrifying the Sima family is? Sima Tian still wanted to say something, but Guan Wenbao swung his hand and used the crescent blade to slap his mouth. Sima Tian was stunned. His face was red and swollen, and he was unable to speak for a long time. It's quite annoying. Shut up. Guan Wenbao muffled out a sentence, and Sima Tian finally stopped speaking. He was probably afraid of pain. Yan Kai wanted to laugh. This Sima Tian, he really had no choice but to hit him. If he knew that he would be more obedient like this, he would have given him a slap earlier. After resting for a while, Guan Wenbao and Yan Kai were a little hungry. As the saying goes, a man is made of iron and rice is made of steel. If they don't eat, they will be starving. Especially for the 2 martial warriors, they also needed a lot of energy. The 2 of them asked the inn's kitchen to make some food and sent it over. I want to eat too. Sima Tian looked at the 2 of them eating heartily and finally could not hold it in anymore. His stomach started to growl. You guys can't mistreat a captive. You're right. Guan Wenbao nodded, then picked up a steamed bun. Go and send it over to him. Why should I send it? Your legs lack training. Guan Wenbao said, it's a good opportunity to exercise. Damn, this grandpa's legs are agile. Yan Kai was very unhappy. It's far from it. The tip of Guan Wenbao's blade rested on Yan Kai's neck. Maybe it's a little slow. Yan Kai picked up the steamed bun and stuffed it into Sima Tian's hands. Eat it. Is this for humans to eat? Sima Tian was a little agitated. This thing is used to feed pigs at our place. Guan Wenbao, who was eating the steamed bun, paused for a moment. Yan Kai kicked Sima Tian angrily. Fuck you, do you want to eat it or not? If you don't eat it, scram. Yan Kai was too lazy to even give the steamed bun to Sima Tian. He took the steamed bun back and stuffed it into his mouth. Giving it to someone like you to eat is better than feeding it to pigs. Yan Kai ate a few mouthfuls and suddenly felt as if he had scolded himself. Fuck. Yan Kai could not help but want to curse. He swallowed the steamed bun back into his stomach and turned back to the table. After the two of them ate a few mouthfuls, Guan Wenbao suddenly raised his crescent blade again. Fuck, can't I just eat properly? Yan Kai couldn't control his anger. Did I offend you by eating a meal? Hurry up and put down your blade. I can't put it down. Guan Wenbao said, the guests are all here. Yan Kai immediately walked to the window, pushed it open with his hand, and looked outside. There were no tourists in the vicinity. Standing downstairs were all swordsmen wrapped in black clothes. These were all the guards of the Sima clan. Each and every one of them was glaring like a tiger watching its prey. None of them were easy to deal with. The butler of the Sima clan, Yen San, was also standing there. This fellow also had a malicious look on his face. Standing beside him was a face that Yan Kai was not very familiar with. But looking at Yen San's respectful manner towards him, he should be a member of the Sima clan. That person was wearing a gorgeous brocade, and with a glance, one could tell that it was worth a lot. Moreover, his temperament was also extraordinary. Especially this person's ancient attire. He was clearly a modern man, but he had his hair tied up in a bun and even had a black jade hairpin on it. Black jade hairpin. Yan Kai said. Ha ha ha, my sixth uncle is here. Sima Tian laughed loudly, my sixth uncle is here, you guys are dead for sure. King of Hell, Sima Fong, wears a black jade hairpin on his head. Guan Wenbao recited a ballad. This ballad was very popular in the pugilistic world. Ha ha ha, my sixth uncle's methods are very powerful. At that time, each of us will send the two of you on your way. It's good for the two of you to have a companion on the road to hell. At least you won't be lonely. Scram. Yan Kai kicked him to the ground. Chapter 501. The King of Hell, Sima Fong, wears a black jade hairpin on his head. This was the sentence that Sima Fong left behind in the Jianghu. His name could be used to stop a child's crying at night. At this moment, the only reason why Sima Fong appeared in this inn was because his nephew was captured. Sima Tian, that idiot, his martial arts were not much, but his ambition was not small. Although Guan Wenbao and Yan Kai were not considered true experts, they were still rising stars in the Jianghu. If Sima Tian wanted to fight against the two of them alone, he was still far from it. If he was so careless, how could he be worthy of being a member of the Sima clan? However, the Sima clan was different from Wurong clan. The Sima clan was a united clan. Even if it was a disappointing fellow, he was still a member of the Sima clan and had to be kept alive. The dignity of the Sima clan could not be tarnished. Sima Fong stood downstairs and looked at this inn that could not be considered very big. Every inn on the ancient camel path was equipped with a stable. At this moment, there was only a red horse in the stable. This horse was not ordinary and should belong to that Guan Wenbao. It seemed to feel a trace of uneasiness and kept pacing back and forth in the stable. It was a very intelligent beast because it knew that its master was about to die. Is Sima Tian inside? He asked Yen San, the most loyal dog of the Sima clan. Yes, my lord. Yen San hurriedly said, I have not seen young master Sima Tian go out. Very good. Sima Fong nodded, I have been here for so long and they still haven't let him go. It seems like they do not intend to let him go. As he spoke, he directly slammed his palm towards the inn above him. Bang! A large piece of the window of the inn was shattered while Guan Wenbao and Yen Kai stood there. One of them was holding a crescent moon blade while the other was holding a great treasure sword. Where is my nephew? Sima Fong went straight to the point and asked. He is staying here as a guest and seems to be quite happy. Yen Kai smiled at Sima Fong. He is enjoying himself so much that he forgot to go home. I reckon that he will not want to go home for a while. This is not up to you or him. Sima Fong said coldly, if you let him go now, I can still let you die a quick death. Sima Fong, I know you are powerful. Yen Kai said, but as members of the escort agency, we take people's money and escort goods for them. I can return Sima Tian to you, but you have to return the item. Hee, you seem to have mistaken something. Sima Fong sneered, Sima Fong. As he spoke, Sima Fong extended his hand and slapped out with another monarch palm. Yen Kai and Guan Wenbao dodged at the same time. The wall behind them was penetrated by a huge palm print. Old Guan, go! Yen Kai and Guan Wenbao descended from the sky at the same time, one on the left and one on the right, pouncing towards Sima Fong. The crescent moon saber in Guan Wenbao's hand brought with it a blazing flame, while Yen Kai's long sword contained the power of a black hole. Sima Fong attacked at the same time, trying to suppress Sima Fong. However, Sima Fong did not place them in his eyes at all. He chuckled and with a single palm strike, he repelled the two of them. You two are good, but you are no match for my monarch palm. Sima Fong was a famous master in Jianghu. He even had a ballot. His level was about the same as the commander of the embroidered uniform guard. Guan Wenbao and Yen Kai were good, but compared to Sima Fong, a senior master, they were still lacking. The two of them were pushed back and landed on the ground, barely managing to stabilize themselves. Old Guan, the two of us are going to die together today. Scram! Who wants to die together with you? Guan Wenbao was unhappy. I still have to keep my life and work for my benefactor. Fuck, I don't want to die either, but I'm afraid I can't escape today. Are you afraid of death? No matter what, I have to leave some injuries for him. Guan Wenbao clenched his fong and stared at Sima Fong, as if he was looking for a flaw. The two of you should lie down. Sima Fong's body appeared beside the two of them without them knowing. He was holding a short sword in his hand, which was stained with blood. Guan Wenbao and Yen Kai's calves had been cut, but they did not see how Sima Fong attacked. 9 swords of bliss, 9 swords of life. Sima Fong chuckled, the two of you still have 8 swords. Enjoy it. After killing the two of them, he would save Sima Tian. As Sima Fong spoke, his figure flashed. Bloody wounds appeared on Guan Wenbao and Yen Kai's bodies again. This time, Sima Fong's sword stabbed into their abdomens. Luckily, the two of them had good physiques and used their muscles to lock their blood vessels. But if this went on, they would only be waiting for death. The 9 swords of bliss never needed the 10th sword to kill. Furthermore, their true chi protection did not have any defensive effect at all and was easily pierced by Sima Fang. Create an opportunity for me. This Dao grandpa is going to cut him down. Yan Kai was furious. He held his sword and wanted to stab into Sima Fang's head. But Sima Fang's martial arts were amazing. He could not get close at all. Guan Wenbao also used the Guan family's saber technique to its fullest, as if he wanted to open a path for Yan Kai. However, Sima Fang only held a short sword and easily flicked away Guan Wenbao's crescent blade. The two of you are too weak. Truly too weak. As Sima Fang spoke, he had already slashed 8 times on Guan Wenbao and Yan Kai's bodies. One more slash and the two's bloodline system would completely collapse. The two of them would die. Just as Sima Fang was about to unleash the last sword, he suddenly took a step back. There were 2 flying daggers nailed to the ground in front of him. Red tassel flying dagger. Looking at the 2 flying daggers, Sima Fang seemed to recall something. The one using these flying daggers seemed to be someone from the Yin family. Sima Fang suddenly felt a threat descending from the sky. He raised his head and saw a man descend from the sky, slapping him with his palm. Courting death. Sima Fang possessed the monarch palm, so how could he be afraid of other people's palm techniques? However, he did not expect that the moment their palms collided, he was actually forced to take a step back and squat on the ground. Sima Fang's chest tightened. He was extremely shocked in his heart. Who is this? Sima Fang widened his eyes, and a youth was standing in front of him. This youth raised a palm and glared at him. If you want to kill my brothers, you have to get past me first. Benefactor. Holy shit, Li Fan. Guan Wenbao and Yan Kai almost cried when they saw this youth. The hell, his appearance was too timely. You are Li Fan. Sima Fang looked at the youth in front of him. Little tyrant Li Fan. Isn't he a little too young? I am your grandfather. As Li Fan spoke, he slapped Sima Fang's head. Chapter 502. Sima Fang knew the power of Li Fan's palm, and he would definitely not take it head-on. But he was an expert who had been famous for many years. If he were to be defeated by a junior, where would he put his face? Sima Fang's feet stepped on the ground as if they had grown roots. He raised his palm and collided with Li Fan's palm once again. Ursa Major Seal. Li Fan's palm brought with it a huge force as it clashed with Sima Fang's palm. Bang! The huge impact spread out in all directions, sending the surrounding black-clothed men flying. Especially Yen San, this fellow was sent tumbling a few rounds before he fell to the ground. The 2 palms touched each other, and their strength continued to clash. Both of them gathered the true qi in their bodies, and both of them were competing with their inner qi, competing with their own true strength. Li Fan's inner qi was robust, but Sima Fang's strength was definitely not weak either. The 2 of them seemed to be on the same level in terms of inner qi, and their inner qi was not giving way to each other. The one who was anxious was Sima Fang. He was a senior of the pugilistic world, and he was on the same level as a junior. Where would he put his face? Sima Fang was furious. He activated his dantian and squeezed out his true qi bit by bit, sending it into his palm. But no matter what method he used, or how much true qi he sent over, Li Fan was like a thick wall that he could not move. Bang! The true qi of the 2 finally reached a peak, and suddenly exploded, knocking the 2 of them away. The 2 of them each took 3 steps back. Sima Fang's face was slightly pale, but Li Fan's expression was as usual. Hades King Sima Fang is only so-so. Li Fan laughed. With a wave of his hand, two streams of true chi flew out and hit the bodies of his two brothers, stopping their bleeding. Just a brat, but his tone is really big. After saying this, Sima Fong took out his dagger again. 9 Swords of Extreme Bliss. Sima Fong's 9 Swords of Extreme Bliss seemed to be invisible. Before Li Fan could react, a wound had already appeared on his shoulder. Li Fan took a step back and looked at the sword wound on his shoulder. He was very surprised. Even if it was a fast sword, it was impossible for it to escape his sight. What ability did Li Fan have? Bullet time. Any move that was a threat to him would be slowed down in front of him. However, Sima Fong's 9 Swords of Bliss actually surpassed his bullet time. He didn't see it at all. He didn't sense it at all. 9 blissful swords. That was the first sword. Sima Fong waved the dagger in his hand. You'll have to slowly enjoy the next 8 moves. Bring it on. Li Fan spread his legs apart and stood there, waiting to see the remaining 8 swords. The 9 Swords of Extreme Bliss would cause death when it was in extreme bliss. Do you know the true power of the 9 Swords of Bliss? You'll know soon enough. As soon as Sima Fong finished speaking, another sword wound appeared on Li Fan's abdomen. Fresh blood gushed out, but Li Fan didn't feel any pain. Instead, he felt a sense of pleasure. This feeling is really weird. Li Fan wondered if he was sick. This was too fucked up. 9 Swords of Extreme Bliss. Could this be the meaning of it? Each sword was faster than the previous one, and each sword was more powerful than the previous one. Every time the sword landed on his body, Li Fan would only feel incomparable happiness, as if he was begging for another sword. Soon, Li Fan's body was stabbed 5 times. Li Fan couldn't see the sword. Secondly, he felt really good. What the fuck? Li Fan knew that he had really underestimated Sima Fong. There was a reason why he could become a famous figure in the martial arts world. Li Fan looked at the 5 sword wounds on his body and laughed bitterly. How is it? You've already felt that endless pleasure, right? Sima Fong pointed the short sword at Li Fan. For more swords and you can ascend to bliss. Li Fan's body trembled slightly. Beg me. Sima Fong laughed and said, beg me and I'll continue to make you happy. Although these words sounded awkward, at this moment, in Li Fan's ears, it was like celestial music. Li Fan restrained his impulse. This sword of extreme bliss seemed to have activated a special acupoint in his body, allowing him to feel endless pleasure while he was bleeding. This move was indeed powerful. He could even turn the tables and beg Su Zimo to be stabbed. Sima Fong was very confident that no one could resist his 9 swords of extreme bliss. No one could resist the temptation of his 9 swords of extreme bliss. Beg me, he said to Li Fan again. Li Fan stood there with his arms crossed in front of him. The true qi in his body rumbled and flowed through every acupoint in his body. Li Fan wanted to find which acupoints were pierced by the 9 swords of extreme bliss. Li Fan's true qi flowed through his body and finally felt an abnormality in a few acupoints. Looking at it alone, there was nothing wrong with a few acupoints. If he only stimulated these acupoints, there wouldn't be any abnormalities. But if he connected them, it seemed to have some kind of power that stimulated human desire. Li Fan didn't say anything, which made Sima Fong a bit surprised. It was already the 5th sword and he was still able to withstand it. No matter, he wanted to try and see how many swords this kid could withstand. Puff, puff, puff. Li Fan's body was stabbed 3 times in a row. It was already the 8th sword. After the 8th sword, Li Fan felt that his rationality was collapsing. He really wanted Sima Fong to stab out the 9th sword. This 9th sword would be used to end his life, but he still desired it. But Li Fan needed to know what the ninth sword would be like and which acupoint in his body would be stimulated. It wasn't just about lust, Li Fan was deeply curious. Come. His eyes were slightly red. Give me the last sword. You weakling. Unbelievable. Sima Fong was shocked to see that Li Fan was still able to maintain his rationality. This was the 9 swords of extreme bliss. How could a person block his 9 swords of extreme bliss? Li Fan circulated his qi throughout his body. He felt that he could do something, so he circulated his true qi to his eyes. At that moment, the entire world seemed to have changed in Li Fan's eyes. Before, Li Fan could only vaguely see a person's true qi. But it was only vaguely, and sometimes it didn't work. But now, everything became clear. Every person, every life, even the surrounding plants emitted a faint qi. Some were weak, some were strong. For example, the nameless grass at the side carried a faint layer of qi. And Sima Jun in front of him, his qi was especially strong, like a burning fire. Chapter 503. There was a saying in Buddhism that all living things were equal. Every blade of grass and every tree had its own world. That was what Li Fan was seeing. He was shocked, but Sima Fong was even more surprised. In front of him, Li Fan's eyes actually emitted a pale blue color. No matter what kind of evil martial arts he used, he would die by my sword. Since you want the 9th sword, I'll satisfy you. Sima Fong raised his short sword. Li Fan saw a powerful qi condensing on his short sword. This was true qi. The true qi of a martial fighter. Logically speaking, the short sword should be covered with sword qi. However, Sima Fong's qi seemed a little different. It was not like sword qi, but a more unique qi. He raised his sword and a stream of true qi rushed toward Li Fan. This stream of qi directly imprinted on his heart, sealing the last of the 9 acupoints. Li Fan's body trembled. He felt his qi vibrating all over his body, and an uncontrollable pleasure swept through his body. The unique qi vibrated continuously from the 9 unique acupoints. It would soon break through these acupoints and enter Li Fan's body, even stopping his heart. 9 swords of bliss. After 9 swords, he would meet Yama. In the past, the Sima family only had monarch palm and 9 deadly swords. However, since Sima Fong appeared out of nowhere, he modified the 9 deadly swords and created the 9 swords of bliss, which made the Sima family's sword techniques shine even more. After the 9 swords of bliss, the true qi in a martial fighter's body would go on a rampage and finally attack the heart, causing sudden cardiac arrest and death. Sima Fong had never failed with the 9 swords of bliss. That was why he had the title of Yama, Sima Fong. Sima Fong had never failed, but this time, he met the freak Li Fan. Li Fan watched as his true qi began to dissipate. He did not panic, but chose to open another heart meridian. God connecting meridian. He changed his mental cultivation method from 7 heroes force to star luo power. His originally chaotic genuine qi also calmed down, quietly flowing in the God connecting meridian. When Li Fan activated the star luo supreme art, his eyes, which were filled with true qi, could also see that all the qi of life in the surroundings was like a star vortex, flowing into his body. It was as if he was the center of this star jade, the center of this universe. If he needed energy, they would provide it to him. Li Fan stopped his star luo supreme art and re-entered the 7 gallant force. He didn't want others to discover his star luo power, but the 7 heroes art was no problem at all. Moreover, Li Fan wanted to promote his 7 gallant fists. This was his dream, and he would definitely make it come true. However, what he needed to do now was to take care of Sima Fong. When Li Fan raised his head again, Sima Fong was shocked. This person actually didn't die. Seeing Li Fan's bleeding slowly stop, Sima Fong's hand, which was holding the short sword, trembled. Impossible. How could someone who had been struck by his 9 swords of bliss still be alive? Unbelievable. Sima Fong, I have already seen through your 9 swords of bliss. Li Fan said, I will defeat you in 3 moves. Although I don't know how you managed to withstand it, it seems like your ability is only to talk big. Sima Fong held the short sword again, die with regret. Li Fan saw Sima Fong's short sword release a strange genuine qi. He stepped to the side, leaned his body, and actually easily dodged Sima Fong's genuine qi. Sima Fong frowned, clearly somewhat surprised. He activated the short sword and shot out a few genuine qi. 9 swords of bliss. The special sword qi on the short sword was formless and colorless, outsiders shouldn't be able to see it at all. It must have been a coincidence. When the fused sword qi flew out, Li Fan didn't even dodge it this time. He directly used the crane hand, and with genuine qi on his palm, he slapped the fused sword qi away. Impossible. Sima Fong continued to shoot out sword qi, one after another. With one hand behind his back, Li Fan used the crane hand to defend himself with the other hand, easily slapping away the sword qi in front of him. Impossible. Sima Fong's eyes widened. He activated the inner force in his body and formed a sword qi, preparing to give Li Fan a big blow. But just when he was about to attack, Li Fan took a horse stance and welcomed it with his palm. Beating tiger. Li Fan's palm landed on Sima Fong's lower abdomen, sending Sima Fong flying. The famous Sima Fong was actually sent flying by a junior of the pugilistic world. No one would believe such a thing even if they were to say it out. Li Fan's palm was still emitting green smoke. This move shocked the surrounding people. Yen San was also dumbfounded. This was the first time he saw someone who could defeat Sima Fong. This brat. Is he really a beginner who just entered the pugilistic world? What martial art is that? Sima Fong held his lower abdomen and slowly got up. He looked at Li Fan in disbelief. 7 Hero Fist. Although 7 Hero Fist was the upgraded version of 7 Hero Fist, it was derived from 7 Hero Fist. Li Fan wanted to popularize his 7 Hero Fist. As for 7 Hero Fist, it was his trump card. 7 Hero Fist. Why have I never heard of it before? Sima Fong's face was filled with shock. He was in disbelief. You guys will know it in the future. Li Fan had a face of confidence. In the pugilistic world, the martial art that I, Li Fan, created, 7 Hero Fist will be sung. Its fame will be even greater than the 9 Buddha Sutra. You really know how to talk big. You won't be able to surpass my 9 sword of bliss. Is that so? Li Fan hooked his finger at Sima Fong. You have already lost. If you don't like it, you can come again. But to defeat you, I still need 3 moves. Nonsense. You need to be taught a lesson. Sima Fong was a senior in the pugilistic world. How could he tolerate a junior shitting on his neck? Sima Fong's true energy surged. He held his short sword, but 9 sword of bliss was useless against Li Fan. And Monarch's palm could not do anything to Li Fan. He was so young, but his inner strength was almost the same as his. How did he cultivate? Did he start cultivating when he was in his mother's womb? Sima Fong was furious. He could not accept his failure, nor could he accept that he could not be compared to this young junior. Bring it on. Li Fan raised 3 fingers, 3 moves. Die. Sima Fong circulated his power to the extreme. His right hand emitted a golden radiance. Monarch's Balm. Sima Fong was over 40 years old. He had been cultivating for half a cycle of 60 years. Although his ultimate skill was 9 Sword of Bliss, Monarch's Palm was also the Sima family's famous martial art. When he used it, he pushed it to the extreme. Chapter 504. Sima Fong slammed his palm toward Li Fan. He wanted to kill Li Fan. However, Li Fan did not dodge. Seeing Sima Fong's palm descending, he struck out with another simple palm. 7 Brilliance Fist. Beating the tiger. Bang! Sima Fong's body flew out again. He crashed into a house behind him, causing it to collapse. Beating the tiger, this move was not just a simple palm strike. Li Fan took advantage of the moment his opponent made his move and struck out with his palm while he was defenseless. A small loft opposite was completely destroyed. Sima Fong was lying inside and slowly stood up from the billowing dust. Sima Fong's face was slightly distorted. "You have angered me." Sima Fong was so angry that his voice changed. However, Li Fan was not afraid of him. Beating the tiger with 2 moves had proven the strength of his 7 Brilliance Fist. It completely suppressed Sima Fong's martial arts. "Lord, what should we do?" Yen San could not help but kneel down and ask Sima Fong. "My condition is not good tonight. It's not good for me to fight." Sima Fong looked at Li Fan with blue veins throbbing on his face. "Go back and recuperate before catching them." "Ha, brother." Li Fan could not help but laugh. "Don't you think you're thinking too highly of yourself? You beat us up so badly, and now you want to leave just like that. If we want to leave, what can you do to us?" With a wave of Sima Fong's hand, more than 50 black-clothed men all landed beside him. Each of them was holding a saber. Standing on the roof, they stared at Li Fan like a tiger watching its prey. "Old Guan, Yen Kai." Li Fan ordered the 2 eager brothers behind him, "Leave this to me." The 2 of them were still injured. It was better for them to recuperate. If their bodies moved too much, there might be repercussions. "These are the elites of my Sima family." Sima Fong sneered, "And me? Do you think you alone can defeat so many of us? Then come and give it a try." Li Fan's eyes shone with a bluish-white radiance, and a huge amount of true qi suddenly condensed behind him. Soon, a 3-meter-tall bluish-white figure stood up. The figure slowly took shape. It was a strong warrior. Under everyone's shocked gazes, he straightened his body and stretched out his huge palm. 7 Brilliant Fist, Toad Transformation. Although Li Fan did not know how to turn illusions into reality, with his unique understanding of true qi, he could already use true qi to condense some concrete shapes. The 7 Brilliance Fist was the man conquering the heavens. Therefore, the shadow behind him was a warrior, not a wild beast. What the hell is this? It was also Sima Fong's first time seeing such a thing. Turning nothingness into reality. No, this isn't turning nothingness into reality. Extreme Bear King Seal. Li Fan crossed his arms in front of his chest, while the huge man behind him struck out with his palm. Boom! A huge gust of wind from the palm blew the entire house away. The 50 over Sima family's black-clothed thugs were all sent flying by the palm wind. They spun in the air for God knows how many times, and were scattered everywhere. Looks like you don't have any subordinates left. Li Fan looked at Sima Fong, who was barely able to stabilize his body, and asked. "Let's have a face-to-face chat." Damn it. What kind of martial art is this? This so-called 7 Brilliant Fist shocked Sima Fong. 7 Brilliant Fist, your memory is too bad. Li Fan narrowed his eyes. I'll let you remember it clearly. Sima Fong did not hesitate. Today was not the time to fight. This kid's martial art was too domineering. Sima Fang's feet shot out and turned around, preparing to escape. But Li Fan's figure suddenly appeared beside him. At the same time, taking advantage of the instant Sima Fang was about to escape, Li Fan had already made his move. 7 Brilliant Fist. Chasing Deer. Li Fan's foot was like a bolt of lightning falling from the sky, striking Sima Fang's shoulder. Sima Fang was immediately kicked to the ground. His entire body was in a sorry state, and he even spat out a mouthful of blood. He was injured. Moreover, he was injured by a junior. Li Fan picked up Sima Fang and threw him in front of Guan Wenbao. Old Guan immediately picked up his crescent moon blade and placed it on Sima Fang's neck. Return the dart to us, and I'll let Sima Fang and Sima Tian go. Li Fan said to Yan San, otherwise, you can wait to collect their corpses. This way, Li Fan would completely offend the Sima family. Li Fan, Yan San was the Sima family's butler after all, and he had experienced many things. Although Sima Fang was defeated by him, he was still very shocked, but he still maintained a bit of rationality and said to Li Fan, "You're very strong." "That's right, but the Sima clan is a big clan. Although Lord Sima Fang is powerful, he's only one person in the Sima clan. There are many experts as powerful as Sima Fang in the Sima clan. Moreover, the strength of our clan is enough to destroy your escort agency 100 or even 1,000 times. So what?" Li Fan's unruliness had far exceeded Yan San's imagination. "Since I've come to Jianghu, I won't be afraid of anyone. Now, 2 heads in exchange for my phenomenal escort agency's escort. Are you going to hand them over or not?" Li Fan pressed down with his finger, and the tip of Guan Wenbao's saber pressed down on Sima Fang's neck, causing it to bleed. "It seems like you're going against the Sima family, huh? It was you guys who didn't give me a choice at all." Li Fan laughed, "I'll count to 10. If they don't hand it over, they'll die. Don't. We'll pay." Yan San had resigned himself to his fate. This brat was completely impervious to everything. Threatening him was completely useless. This brat was simply a piece of dead pig skin. "Take the item out." The item was in an inn that they were staying in, and it was not far from here. Yan San immediately sent someone to retrieve the pure gold carp leaping over the dragon's gate. This item was a cultural relic, and it was worth some money. However, the Sima family did not lack this item, and they had no use for it. They only wanted to show their might to phenomenal escort agency. In the end, not only did they not show their might, they even threw the Sima family's face onto the ground and stepped on it. "This item is real." Yan Kai inspected the item, and then nodded at Li Fan. Only then did Li Fan throw the 2 Sima family members in front of Yan San, one in each hand. "Remember, young master is the little overlord, Li Fan." Li Fan loudly told Yan San, "I don't care who is in the pugilistic world. Whoever dares to provoke me, young master will kill them all." He reminded Yan San, "Go back and tell your master that if he dares to provoke young master again, young master will annihilate the entire Sima family. The Sima family will definitely pay their debts." Yan San ordered the servants to lift Sima Fang and Sima Tian up. Before he left, he threw a harsh sentence at Li Fan. "The Sima family will remember this debt today." Chapter 505. An interesting rumor began to spread in the pugilistic world. Li Fan and his fiefin agency broke through the Sima family's blockade and even defeated the Sima family's expert, Sima Fang, and successfully delivered the goods. In an instant, fiefin agency was in the limelight in the pugilistic world. Not only fiefin agency, but also Li Fan's Fist of the 7 Heroes. There were a few rankings in the pugilistic world that were managed by the Phoenix King. One of them recorded the most powerful martial arts in the pugilistic world. Ranked first was Lu Jinchan's 9 Buddha Sutra. There had never been any other martial arts that could surpass it. Sima Fang's 9 blissful swords broke the previous ranking of fatal 9 swords in one fell swoop and successfully entered the 7th place. Murong Ying's Murong sword technique was ranked 6th, ahead of 9 swords of bliss. Sima Fang had been trying to defeat Murong Ying for a long time, so that 9 swords of bliss would be ranked 6th, but he had never succeeded. But now, because of his failure, a brand new martial art had successfully entered the Godly Skill Manual. 7 Hero Fist was ranked 10th in the Divine Skill Manual. It's already the 10th. This is a good start. Li Fan sat in the classroom and glanced at the ranking of the martial arts on his phone. Looking at Fist of the 7 Heroes, which was ranked 10th, Li Fan must be very happy. From now on, no one in the pugilistic world would ask him what martial arts he was practicing, kid. Or what the hell was Fist of the 7 Heroes. Murong Ying's sword technique is ranked 6th, Li Fan was not satisfied. It seemed that surpassing his wife was on the agenda. Li Fan, you're in the rankings. Bai Lin Luo pushed up his glasses and pointed at the app. Take a look. Oh. Li Fan had heard of the rankings. He heard that some of the most powerful martial artists in the pugilistic world would be on the rankings. Someone as awesome as me should be in the top 10, right? Li Fan said with a little joy. You are now ranked 132nd. What the hell? Li Fan was stunned for a moment. He had already defeated Sima Fang, that kind of person, but he was actually ranked 132. It's already not bad, okay? How long has it been since you debuted? Bai Lin Luo patted Li Fan's shoulder. The names on this list are all famous figures who have been famous for several years or even decades. You're already a dark horse if you're able to enter the top 150. What about Sima Fang? What's his ranking? Him. He's ranked 32nd. Bai Lin Luo's words made Li Fan's heart sink. Sima Fang was already an expert, but he was only ranked 32nd. Where's Murong Ying? 10th. Bai Lin Luo checked the list and said, the top 10 should all be at the Grandmaster level. Your future father-in-law is ranked first. Fuck, Li Fan took the list, glanced at it, and frowned. The commander of the embroidered uniform guard was ranked 9th in front of Murong Ying. He already had the strength of a grandmaster. Looks like in the top 10, only Murong Ying was at the peak of perfection. My fiancée is indeed powerful. With her strength at the peak of perfection, she is ranked in the top 10. No wonder she is the martial world's alliance master. However, Phoenix King also stated below that this information is only for reference. The pugilistic world is too big. There are still some hidden experts who are not on the list. Bai Lin Luo often studied this information, so his understanding was slightly higher than Li Fan. Li Fan nodded. Indeed, China was so big, and there must be some masters who hid their names. There's also a ranking of aristocratic families and sects. Li Fan looked at the list. The first was the Murong family, and the second was the Sima family. Even Wudang and Shaolin were ranked behind these two sects. Li Fan was a little shocked. So these two families were really that awesome. The 4 major sects in the pugilistic world were also ranked, ahead of Wudang and Shaolin. Although Wudang and Shaolin were old sects, their overall strength could not compare to the 4 major sections. Li Fan saw a familiar name. Fictional Escort Agency, ranked 720th. It was ranked 720th. Although there were no longer any rankings after the 200th place on the ranking list, for some reason, Primo Escort Agency was added to it. What does this mean? Does it mean that Fifen Escort Agency has great potential? Looks like Phoenix King has a high opinion of Fifen Escort Agency. Bai Lin Luo looked at the ranking and lightly knocked on the table as he analyzed. I wonder what Phoenix King is planning. Li Fan knew who the Phoenix King was. That guy looked kind, but he would definitely not get up early without benefits. There must be a reason why he brought up Fifen Escort Agency's ranking. He recalled the last time they met, Phoenix King wanted to invest in his escort agency, but Lin Fan rejected him. Fifen Escort Agency must be under his control, and it was not enough. Li Fan must cooperate with Phoenix King to open a martial arts dojo and promote his martial arts. Li Fan, Bai Lin Luo, don't whisper in each other's ears in class. Liao Wushuang threw a piece of chalk at Li Fan, and Li Fan caught it. Thank you, Ms. Liao, for throwing me a token of love. Li Fan teased in English, and Liao Wushuang rolled her eyes at him. You bastard. You have so many women already, and you're still flirting with Ms. Liao. Bai Lin Luo was very unhappy. Liao Wushuang was his goddess. Li Fan quickly gave Bai Lin Luo a heads up. Little Four Eyes, Liao Wushuang is also a teacher. It's impossible for her to be with us students. But this can't stop my unrequited love. What I love is this feeling of being unreachable. Bai Lin Luo firmly said. Little Four Eyes, you must know, behind every seemingly unreachable goddess, there is a man who will fuck her to the point of vomiting. Fuck. I can't be a brother anymore. It's that serious. Humph, it's that serious. Bai Lin Luo even pouted, you bastard, can't you stop with the peach blossom? We're all brothers, how can we turn against each other for a woman? Li Fan decided to slowly brainwash Bai Lin Luo because it was impossible for Liao Wushuang to fall in love with Bai Lin Luo. Li Fan did not know why, but he had this kind of feeling. Goddesses are meant to be protected. Then let me ask you a question. While Liao Wushuang was teaching, Li Fan lowered his voice and asked Bai Lin Luo a question. What question? Bai Lin Luo felt a bit strange. Why is there something wrong with Li Fan today? Let me ask you. If Miss Liao and I are in love, will you turn against me? Ha! Bai Lin Luo was stunned. Chapter 506. Are you kidding me? Bai Lin Luo dryly laughed. How could Teacher Liao possibly fall in love with you? He blinked his eyes. You. Don't tell me it's true. How could it be? I'm just curious and want to ask. Li Fan hid his thoughts and hurriedly explained, you know, I'm a curious person. I don't know. Bai Lin Luo was suddenly asked in a daze. I just admire Teacher Liao. If you really want to fall in love with her, that's impossible. If you can be with her, if it's true, I think I'll give you my blessing. But, you already have a fiancé. Bai Lin Luo seemed to be a bit tangled. So if you fall in love with Teacher Liao, it's definitely not serious. What you said seems to make some sense. I also understand your feelings for Teacher Liao. Li Fan nodded, but Liao Wushuang suddenly turned around and said to them, Li Fan, you're too disobedient, come to my office after class. Li Fan was dumbfounded, while Bai Lin Luo looked at Li Fan gloatingly. Serves you right, who asked you to be so smug? Li Fan helplessly shrugged his shoulders. This kind of thing, he really can't talk back to the teacher. Okay, everyone, follow me and read this text. Liao Wushuang continued the class. The class time was not long. Soon, it was the end of the class. After class, Li Fan obediently came to Liao Wushuang's office. This office is not big, there are a total of 4 teachers, all of whom are the school's English teachers. Liao Wushuang sat by the window. When Li Fan went in, the other 3 teachers were also there. The 2 English teachers got up and walked outside. The next class is there next. One of the male teachers seemed to like Liao Wushuang very much. Before he left, he put a cup of steaming hot tea in front of Liao Wushuang. "Teacher Liao, this is the tea I brought from my hometown. Try it." "Thank you, Teacher Yang." Liao Wushuang nodded gratefully at him and then asked Li Fan to stand in front of her desk. The only one left was an English teacher. She sat at the side with headphones on. She seemed to be watching an English movie with the original soundtrack. Li Fan stood in front of Liao Wushuang's desk and looked at Liao Wushuang, who was wearing a gray teacher's uniform. Although it was just an ordinary teacher's uniform, when worn by Liao Wushuang, it really had the allure of a uniform from an educational film. Furthermore, she was wearing black stockings underneath, accompanied by a pair of perfect long legs. It was simply amazing. Fortunately, there was air conditioning in the office. Otherwise, Li Fan would be worried about Teacher Liao's health. Yes, it was the body, not the flesh. He was a good youth who cared about others. Sigh, it was so touching. "What are you looking at?" Liao Wushuang raised her head and rolled her eyes at Li Fan as if she felt his burning gaze. "The scenery." Li Fan's words made Liao Wushuang's face blushed. "Nonsense again. Is your skin itching?" Teacher Liao wants to hit me." Li Fan smiled. "Where do you want to hit?" "I will clean myself for you to hit." "Glib tongue, you disappeared for a long time and came back like this." Liao Wushuang threw an English paper in front of him. "Look at it yourself." "Recently, my English score has slipped again. Teacher Liao, I have some other things to deal with recently, so I don't have much energy to study." Li Fan had to explain. The most important thing for a student is to study." Liao Wushuang fiercely glared at Li Fan. "Knowledge is the foundation for your future success." When did Teacher Liao become so rigid? Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. This is not like Teacher Liao's character. "It's not that I'm rigid, but you're about to be a senior, Li Fan." Liao Wushuang was worried for Li Fan. "You're very talented. If you play well, although you can't go to Tsinghua University or Peking University, you still have a chance. But if you go to a foreign language school or the University of Political Science and Law, you still have a chance." Liao Wushuang said, "Moreover, your English is better. If you pass the IELTS, I can help you arrange a foreign university. I have a good relationship with a professor at Columbia University. I can recommend you to him." Liao Wushuang felt as if she was willing to do anything for Li Fan, but Li Fan waved his hand. "There's no need to go abroad to study. I'm not used to living with a group of foreign devils." "Then you should go to a first-class university in China. 211 is the minimum." Liao Wushuang seemed to have high expectations for Li Fan. "Teacher Liao, can't I serve the motherland if I don't go to university?" "Teacher Liao, you have a problem with your thinking. I should criticize and educate you." "Fuck you, you still want to criticize and educate me." Liao Wushuang rolled her eyes at Li Fan. "University is the temple of learning and growth. It's open door to you. If you don't experience university life, you'll always be missing something in your life." I will definitely go to university." Li Fan seemed to be a bit impatient. "Moreover, Teacher Liao, if I go to university, I can't see you anymore. Could it be that you want me to leave like this?" "Of course not." "Pay." Liao Wushuang reacted. She was almost tricked by this brat. "Who wouldn't want to leave you, you little bastard? What's our relationship, right? You see, there's no one else here. I'll call you Sister Liao." "Don't talk nonsense. Teacher Xiao is still here." Liao Wushuang seemed a bit shy. I don't know what kind of Western porn she's watching. She's wearing headphones and can't hear us. Li Fan smiled and explained, I haven't been alone with Sister Liao for a long time. I feel a bit nervous. If Sister Liao doesn't believe me, listen to me, my heart is beating fast. Fuck you, who wants to listen to your heartbeat? Liao Wushuang softly pouted, cheeky. Sister Liao, I have a question to ask you. Seeing Liao Wushuang's shy look, Li Fan couldn't help but want to tease this almost perfect cow beauty teacher. What question? Liao Wushuang felt that Li Fan suddenly became serious. His serious look was a bit attractive. Sister Liao. Li Fan gently held Liao Wushuang's small hand. Do you accept a teacher-student relationship? Ah. Liao Wushuang was a bit flustered. This brat, why would he suddenly ask this question? I should have talked to him about similar questions. Why would he suddenly ask this? Does he want to confess to me? Then should I agree with him? Damn, Liao Wushuang, how could you think of this? Liao Wushuang, you're too unprofessional, have you forgotten your job? Chapter 507. Liao Wushuang fiercely despised herself in her heart. Okay. Class is about to start, you should go. Liao Wushuang didn't know how to reprimand Li Fan, so she urged Li Fan to leave. The next class is physical education, it doesn't matter if you go or not. Li Fan shamelessly said, I don't want to leave. I want to chat with Teacher Liao. Li Fan held Liao Wushuang's hand with a reluctant look. Teacher Liao, we have a good saying in China, it's easy to invite a god, but hard to send him away. Screw you, it's not like I don't know this saying. You say we're from China. I'm not from China. Liao Wushuang didn't know how many times she looked at Li Fan, as if she was very angry with Li Fan. Go, hurry up and go to class, I don't want to see you again. Really? Liao Wushuang tried to drive Li Fan out, but Li Fan was like an old tree rooted to the ground, standing there, motionless. No matter how Liao Wushuang pushed, she couldn't push him away. Damn, you only know how to bully me. Liao Wushuang saw her colleague wearing earphones, listening attentively, so she unscrupulously complained to Li Fan. She pushed Li Fan hard, but her waist sprained, causing her to groan in pain. What's wrong? Li Fan was taken aback and quickly went forward to check Liao Wushuang's body. My waist has been hurting recently. It seems like it's sprained. Liao Wushuang gently frowned, her hand pressed on her waist, and said. What's wrong? Are you hurt? I've been sitting all year round, so I have some lumbar muscle strain. Liao Wushuang bitterly smiled. Teacher Liao is only about 20 years old, how could you have lumbar muscle strain? Li Fan's hand gently pressed on her waist, making Liao Wushuang a bit itchy. Don't. It's ticklish. I'm very ticklish. Liao Wushuang wanted to push Li Fan away, but she didn't have the strength. Teacher Liao, sit down. Li Fan pushed Liao Wushuang back to her seat, then squatted in front of her, his hands gently pressing her waist. But Liao Wushuang was a little uncomfortable. Li Fan said. Teacher Liao, spread your legs. It will be more comfortable. You, go to hell. Liao Wushuang was wearing a uniform skirt, and if her legs were separated, she would be seen by Li Fan. Teacher Liao, don't overthink it. I'm just helping you treat your waist. Li Fan said righteously, my jinqi is quite effective. You can try it. Really? Liao Wushuang didn't seem to believe it. Li Fan only used a bit of internal force, and Liao Wushuang immediately felt her waist heat up. She felt a lot more comfortable. She was a little surprised. How could this be? true qi can improve a person's bodily functions and physique. Li Fan said, but your current posture will affect the blood circulation in your waist, which will make the treatment less effective. Ah. Liao Wushuang looked at the serious look in Li Fan's eyes. She didn't know if he was serious or just fooling her. But, anyway, he had already seen all the places that should be seen. Now, if she slightly separated her legs, it should be no problem. But, today, she was wearing a tea-back, and it was lace. If he saw it, it would be too embarrassing. But, she still wanted to try it. Liao Wushuang buried her head in the book beside her, and then quietly separated her legs. Li Fan felt his blood rushing to his head. Teacher Liao's dressing was really open. After Liao Wushuang separated her legs, she indeed felt the pressure on her waist loosening a bit. That warm power also moved back and forth faster and more comfortable. So, he didn't lie to me. I thought of him as a bad person just now. It's my fault, but this posture is indeed a bit embarrassing. Li Fan squatted under Liao Wushuang's desk, his hands holding her small waist. Although Liao Wushuang felt that Li Fan didn't lie to her, she neglected one thing. Why Li Fan didn't choose to do it behind her, but in front of her. At this time, she was too comfortable and forgot about these things. But at this time, Teacher Zhao, who had been watching the movie, suddenly took off her headphones and asked Liao Wushuang. Teacher Liao, I forgot to ask you. Yesterday, I asked you to help me mark the papers. Here. Liao Wushuang woke up. She wanted to get up to take the papers, but she couldn't feel her waist, so she couldn't move. Li Fan was helping her, so Liao Wushuang couldn't get up at this time. But that teacher Zhao seemed to be a bit impatient. She already stood up. Your waist is acting up again. It's okay, I'll go get it. Liao Wushuang was a bit scared. At this time, Li Fan was squatting under her desk. If someone saw her like this, it would be hard to explain. But she came over step by step. What should I do? I can't move, and Li Fan doesn't have the intention to stop. What should I do? Should I ask Li Fan to stop? He definitely won't listen to me. Should I ask Teacher Zhao to stop? It's not like that. God, I'm really in a dilemma. What should I do? But at this time, it seems like because the window was not closed, a sudden gust of wind blew in. The stack of papers on the table was directly blown up and scattered behind Teacher Zhao. This evil wind, it's okay. Teacher Liao, you sit down, I'll pick it up. Teacher Zhao turned around, squatted on the ground and began to pick up the scattered papers. Liao Wushuang's heart was relieved, but she couldn't help but feel a bit strange. Is it really a gust of wind, or is it Li Fan's trick? Li Fan seemed to be a bit tired from squatting and actually buried his head between Liao Wushuang's legs. Liao Wushuang was suddenly embarrassed and her body trembled. Li Fan, this guy, he must be doing it on purpose, but Liao Wushuang somewhat enjoyed the feeling on her waist. That warm and pleasant feeling flowed all over her body. It's really comfortable. Liao Wushuang felt a bit addicted. No, how can I be addicted to this kind of thing? After Teacher Zhao finished picking up the papers, she suddenly remembered something and asked Li Fan, hey, where's that student? He just went out. Liao Wushuang endured a little tremble in her voice and answered. Oh, right, it's time for class. But this kid is a famous bully, can he honestly go to class? Teacher Zhao jokingly said, a beautiful woman like Teacher Liao, he might find a way to pursue you. Liao Wushuang blushed, Teacher Zhao. Don't joke around. He's my student. Ah. Chapter 508. Teacher Liao came back from abroad, why do you also pay attention to this? Teacher Zhao couldn't help but laugh. I thought that only we, the old pedants in our country, would have this kind of feudal thinking. Teacher Zhao is only in his early 20s, how did he become an old pedant? In a place like China, if a teacher and a student fall in love, they will be dragged out and scolded. Teacher Zhao was very emotional. When the time comes, not to mention falling in love, they will even lose their jobs. They will be condemned by everyone. What about Teacher Zhao, do you think it's not good? Liao Wushuang used chatting to cover it up. How is it not good? Some students are really quite handsome. Teacher Zhao's eyes emitted little stars, but only in foreign countries can such a romantic thing happen. Is it really? Very romantic. Liao Wushuang couldn't help but ask. Of course, to be with the person you really like, to break through layers of obstacles, all the restraints, all the dogmas. It doesn't matter, as long as there is love, that's enough. But is love really that important? Of course, in our lives, there are only a few things. Teacher Zhao counted his fingers: career, love, family. We women, only the last two are important. This career, may not be that important. Teacher Zhao, you can't say that. Liao Wushuang quickly said, men look down on us, but we women can't look down on ourselves. Teacher Liao, what's wrong? Is your waist still uncomfortable? Do you want me to help you massage it? Teacher Zhao asked enthusiastically. No, no need. I'm ticklish. Liao Wushuang quickly rejected the other party's good intentions. I'll just bear with it for a while. In our line of work, there aren't many people with good health. Teacher Zhao said, you must pay more attention to your body. Yes, thank you, Teacher Zhao. Oh right, I have a heat pack here. It's very comfortable to stick on. I'll give it to you. Teacher Zhao was very enthusiastic. She took out a stack of heat packs and placed them on Liao Wushuang's desk. Liao Wushuang was really on tenterhooks, afraid that Li Fan would be discovered. But Li Fan was so unscrupulous. His hands were pinching Liao Wushuang's waist, and his face was buried between her legs, driving her crazy. This bastard Li Fan is so annoying, but it doesn't seem to be that annoying, so tangled. Gemini women are all so tangled. This abominable Li Fan was too abominable. Right, I still have to go out and get something. I'll have to trouble Teacher Liao to look after the office alone. Teacher Zhao finally left. She turned around and left the office. Liao Wushuang let out a long sigh of relief. That's much better. I don't feel so depressed anymore. She's gone. Come out quickly. Liao Wushuang lowered her head. I'm not coming out. It's nice here. It's warm. Warm your ass. Come out. Liao Wushuang was on the verge of crying. She couldn't let this go on. Hurry up and leave while she's gone. Liao Wushuang wanted Li Fan to leave as soon as possible. She couldn't stand it anymore. If this went on, Liao Wushuang always felt that she would make a mistake that she shouldn't have made. Li Fan was really... She couldn't hold him. Done. Li Fan's true qi was almost used up. Any more and it would cause damage to Liao Wushuang's body. Every time he transferred an appropriate amount of true qi, after all, moderation is the best. If the amount was too much, it wouldn't be good. From now on, you have to give Sister Liao a massage every day for 20 minutes. 1 treatment per month. Only 1 course of treatment a month. Liao Wushuang froze for a moment. How many treatments do you need? More than 1,000. According to the time, it seems that Sister Liao can only marry me. Really, Liao Wushuang was a bit dazed. So long, I'm just teasing you. 3 or 4 treatments should be enough. Li Fan finally stood up, reached out his hand, and gently touched Liao Wuxuang's forehead. Fortunately, it's not hot. Li Fan breathed a sigh of relief. Those who were infused with true qi by him, some of them had a weak body and would have a slight fever. But Liao Wuxuang was fine, probably because she was a true qi insulator. Quick, let's go back to class. Liao Wuxuang glanced outside the window. Li Fan's class's students were on the playground. Spring had arrived, and many students were exercising. Many students were running happily. Some were playing soccer, some were playing basketball. While the girls were generally in groups of 3 to 5 chatting. They didn't really like sports. Many boys were showing off in front of the girls they liked. Whether it was basketball or soccer, they all put in a lot of effort. Lin Yuhsan's class happened to be a physical education class, but Li Fan didn't need to guess to know that she didn't like sports. Sure enough, she was sitting on the concrete table next to him, holding a book in her hand. Li Fan used his eyesight to gather true qi in his eyes. Even at a distance of a few hundred meters, the name of the book became clear in front of him. Criminal Psychology. Damn, why is this girl reading this? Go and exercise with them. Students should be full of energy, Wang Yao said. Okay, then I'll go down for a walk. Li Fan said and directly opened the window. What are you doing? Liao Wuxuang was stunned for a moment. Taking the stairs is too slow. Li Fan said and directly jumped down from the 3rd floor. His body very gracefully somersaulted in the air, and then steadily landed on the ground. No one noticed Li Fan. After all, no one knew that someone could jump down from the 3rd floor window. Li Fan's qigong was indeed beautiful. He landed on the playground and walked toward the class. Although the physical education teacher saw Li Fan coming later, he didn't dare to say anything. After all, he knew how the previous physical education teacher resigned from this school. Who dared to provoke this Li Fan? He was indeed a little bully. Li Fan, you're here. We're just short of one person. Bai Lin Luo had no other hobbies other than English and playing football. He waved his hand at Li Fan and shouted, "Come and help me." "Ah, I won't participate." Li Fan waved his hand. "Aya, let's play together." Bai Lin Luo kicked the ball to Li Fan, and Li Fan swung his foot. The football immediately flew across half of the playground, drew an arc, and directly fell into the goal. The goalkeeper was dumbfounded. "Forget it. It's better not to bring you." Bai Lin Luo also realized this fact. Bringing Li Fan to play this game was simply torturing himself. Chapter 509. You're Li Fan. Just as Li Fan was about to stretch his body, a sturdy boy suddenly walked over from Lin Yuhsan's class. He seemed to be a sports student, but he only wore a sports top and sports shorts on this cold day. Spring was freezing, but water didn't freeze. This person was still domineering even with his legs bare. However, Li Fan looked at his thick leg hair. Damn, he was born with a pair of thick fur pants. Look, isn't that your little lover? A girl gently pushed Lin Yuhsan. Lin Yuhsan raised her head and blushed when she saw Li Fan. What are you talking about, really? Why did the gorilla from our class go over there? I think he went to look for your little lover. Oh. Lin Yuhsan tilted her head and looked at the other end of the sports field. Gorilla was a nickname. This guy was called Xiao Jiqi. He was a sports student and a seated player. It was said that he was an all-rounder in 10 sports and was quite famous in school. He was also good-looking and good at basketball. He was quite famous in the class and had some female fans. However, the person Xiao Jiqi liked was none other than the campus belle, Lin Yuhsan. Recently, there was a rumor circulating in the school that the untouchable campus belle, Lin Yuhsin, only liked one man, and that was the little tyrant, Li Fan. Zhao Jiqi was unhappy. He was the most popular person in the class. How could he give the woman he liked to an outsider? You're Li Fan. Zhao Jiqi took advantage of Li Fan's PE class to provoke him. It was too rare for Li Fan to come to PE class. Although the two classes always had PE class together, it was already good enough for the little tyrant, Li Fan, to come to PE class once in 1,000 years. Zhao Jiqi felt that Li Fan's existence was an insult to him. You're Li Fan. Big brother, you've asked this question 3 times already. Li Fan felt very helpless. Are you stupid? In the entire second high school, is there anyone who doesn't know me, Li Fan? In number 2 private high school, Li Fan's name was indeed known by everyone. Little tyrant Li Fan, the strongest student in the school. Do you think you're special? When Zhao Jiqi saw Li Fan, she was filled with anger. Especially when he realized that Lin Yuhsin's gaze was fixed on him, he puffed up his chest and said, "Today, I'm going to show you what a truly capable person looks like." As the two of them quarreled, the surrounding students gathered around them. The PE teacher didn't dare to interfere with Li Fan's affairs and could only watch from the side. As long as the two of them didn't fight, it would be fine. If they did, Zhao Jiqi would be at a disadvantage. What are you doing? Li Fan could not help but ask. I want to compete with you. Zhao Jiqi pointed at Li Fan and proudly said, the loser will kneel down and call me grandpa. Forget it, for your own good, go play basketball. Li Fan tried to persuade him. No, I want to compete with you. Zhao Jiqi was eager to show off in front of Lin Yuhsin, so she had no intention of backing down. What, Li Fan, are you afraid? I knew it, you're a fucking coward. Fine. Li Fan couldn't help it. What else could he say since the other party had already said it like this? Compete with what? I'll compete with you in 10 sports. If you can beat me in 5, I'll consider it your win. Zhao Jiqi was very confident, but I'm an all-rounder. Defeating you is too easy. Fine, since you're so confident, then let's compete. Li Fan looked at the basketball in Zhao Jiqi's hand. Let's compete with what you're best at. Ha ha ha, what a fool. Zhao Jiqi could not help but clap her hands and laugh. You actually want to compete with what I'm best at. Good, good, see how I'll defeat you. With that, Zhao Jiqi glanced at Lin Yuhsin. Realizing that Lin Yuhsin was also looking at him, he became even happier. TSK, sure enough, she's attracted to me. Now I'll let Lin Yuhsin see what a real man is. Just as he was feeling happy, Lin Yuhsin's side was also in an uproar. Ah, the gorilla and your little lover are fighting. Her best friend pulled Lin Yuhsin. Are you nervous? Nervous my ass, idiot boy. Lin Yuhsin could not be bothered. This kind of idiot actually challenged Li Fan, he would definitely be crushed. Li Fan too, what's the point of this kind of competition? With your small physique, I'm not going to play bullshit with you. Zhao Jiqi patted her chest in a very fair manner. I'll compete with you in point shooting. Under the basket, the 2-point line, and the 3-point line, 3 points each. Whoever scores more points will win, how about it? Alright, then you go first. Li Fan extended his hand, and Zhao Jiqi deliberately acted cool, dribbling the ball while running into the basketball court's restricted area, and made a beautiful slam dunk first. This Zhao Jiqi was not short, and her athletic ability was also developed. Her slam dunk was indeed very beautiful, causing a lot of girls to exclaim. Don't let me make you cry. Zhao Jiqi said as he stood under the backboard, and all 3 of his shots accurately hit the backboard. Following that, he walked to the 2-point line, and stood on his favorite left side. All 3 shots were also successful, and the basketball went into the air, very beautiful. Even Li Fan could not help but clap his hands for him. This brother, in the future, if he specialized in basketball, he should be able to have a good result. Unfortunately, he came to challenge me and hit my self-confidence. This Xiao Jieqi was very confident. He walked to the 3-point line, and shot in turn. 3 shots, 2 goals, this result is already very good. Xiao Jieqi's touch was very good. He gave a middle finger to Li Fan, and then threw the basketball to the other side. Paw! Li Fan caught the basketball. He did not act pretentious, and casually dribbled the ball while walking to the backboard. He looked at Xiao Jieqi's provocative eyes, reached out his hand, and casually threw the basketball. Li Fan did not make any movements to shoot. He casually hooked his hand, and then threw the basketball into the hoop. Hook! Xiao Jieqi could not help but think of Jabbar. But this Li Fan, it should be a fluke. Li Fan walked to the 2-point line, and casually hooked his hand 3 times. The basketball spirit entered the hoop, not even hitting the backboard. Xiao Jieqi was slightly stunned. This shouldn't be a fluke, right? 3-point line. Hooking at the 3-point line is not effective. 2 3-pointers, it is already considered an extraordinary performance. In this kind of place, no one dares to say that they are 100% accurate. And Li Fan hooked his hand 3 times. The basketball drew a beautiful parabola every time, and accurately fell into the hoop. Xiao Jieqi was a little dumbfounded. This is impossible. Hooking, how can it be a 3-pointer? Well, you lost this round, what's the next round? Li Fan hugged the basketball and looked at Xiao Jieqi with a relaxed expression. Chapter 5:10. Xiao Jieqi was dumbfounded. He was best at basketball. How could he be defeated in a second? This Li Fan is really good at basketball. But at most, he's just good at basketball. Maybe he's just luckier. A hook shot for a 3-pointer. This was definitely not a technique. Who could use a hook shot for a 3-pointer? Xiao Jieqi had lived for a long time and had never seen such a thing. Xiao Jieqi took 2 deep breaths and looked at Lin Yuhsian, who was sitting at the side. No, I must display my true abilities. I cannot let Lin Yuhsian look down on me. I must perform well today. I must humiliate Li Fan. This Li Fan was good at fighting. I don't believe he is good at sports too. In sports, I am the real master. A real all-rounder. The next event is the long jump. Xiao Jieqi's thighs were firm and strong. They had always been his pride. Sure, let's compete then. Li Fan did not mind. Since it was just bullying, it was the same no matter how he bullied. I am someone who won the long jump championship in the city. This time you are dead meat. Xiao Jieqi walked to the front of the sand and moved his legs. Don't be scared to tears by my jumping ability. As she spoke, Xiao Jieqi sprinted madly. She ran up frantically and finally jumped off the takeoff line, achieving a score of 8.5 meters. This was already an amazing result. It was close to the world record. Wow, she jumped so far. Flying man. These students saw Xiao Jieqi jumping so far and could not help but be surprised. Even the PE teacher was surprised. This Xiao Jieqi was indeed an all-rounder. Li Fan did not even run. He just walked leisurely to the starting line. Xiao Jieqi wanted to laugh. This guy was shocked by his jumping ability. Is he going to give up? He is not a man. He does not even have the courage to fight. Li Fan just walked to the front, bounced his feet, jumped into the air, and did a beautiful somersault in the air. Li Fan jumped 15 meters away and landed steadily on the ground. Zhao Jiqi was a little unsteady and almost fell to the ground. How? How could this be? Am I seeing things? He watched as Li Fan somersaulted in the air, like those martial arts masters in television dramas, somersaulting in the air. This was impossible, absolutely impossible. Holy shit. How did it jump out? Could it be Qinggong? The surrounding students were all shocked as well. They all knew that the little tyrant was powerful, but this was just too powerful, right? The PE teacher rubbed his eyes hard, thinking that he might be seeing things. Oh my god. That lover of yours. Isn't he a bit powerful? Her best friend's mouth was agape as she asked Lin Yuhsin, how did he jump out? Lin Yuhsin was not surprised at all. Others might not know how strong Li Fan was, but how could she not know? Zhao Jiqi's confidence was probably going to be destroyed this time around. What's next? Li Fan asked. Next is the shot put. Not knowing why, Zhao Jiqi seemed to be a little uncertain. This man, how could he jump so far? Seems like his jumping ability is very powerful. I can't choose the leg exercise. Why not choose the shot put, which I have been practicing for many years? He could throw a distance of 20 meters now. I feel very confident today. I might be able to break my own record. Zhao Jiqi picked up the heavy shot put and placed it on his shoulder. The people around him kept a safe distance. Zhao Jiqi spun, using his waist to drive the strength of his arms. He fiercely threw the shot put out. Xiao! Dong! The shot put hit the ground. Under the gaze of Lin Yuhsin, Zhao Jiqi really broke through him this time, throwing a distance of 21 meters. This distance, for a Chinese athlete, was already a very powerful distance. Zhao Jiqi himself was also very excited. Too powerful, I am really too powerful. Li Fan casually picked up the shot put and played with it in his hands. This made Zhao Jiqi's eyes open wide. Li Fan threw it lightly, and the shot put drew an arc in the air and was thrown at least 30 meters away. Fuck! Zhao Jiqi could not hold it in anymore. He wanted to curse. How is this possible? This is absolutely impossible. Although they had only competed in 3 of the decathlon, Zhao Jiqi suddenly felt that this Li Fan was a monster. Comparing the human's athletic ability with this monster. I am like an idiot. Zhao Jiqi was dumbfounded. This was the first time he had lost to another student in sports. How is this possible? Zhao Jiqi could not believe his eyes. He felt that from the moment he provoked Li Fan to the moment he threw the shot put, everything was like a dream. God, is he joking with me? Okay, what's the next event? Li Fan looked at Zhao Jiqi leisurely, waiting for him to announce the next event. Are you human? Zhao Jiqi finally could not hold it in anymore and asked. I am the real deal. Li Fan nodded without hesitation. What's the next event? I admit defeat. Zhao Jiqi could not be arrogant and was completely terrified. With Li Fan's ability, how could he compete with him? Any project, in his hands, was like playing a game. Not to mention him, even if a real world champion came, he would be easily crushed by Li Fan. Although Zhao Jiqi was proud, he was not stupid. If he continued to compete, he would only lose face in front of Lin Yuhsin. Zhao Jiqi did not know what to do. He was unwilling to admit defeat. Admitting defeat in front of the goddess. There was nothing more painful than this. Zhao Jiqi was very unwilling. He wished he could find a hole to hide in. But at this moment, there was a sudden movement from the entrance. A group of hooligans walked in, each of them holding an axe in their hands, and each of them looked fierce. There were more than 10 of them, and they walked into the school and stood on the field. Some of the hooligans stood at the entrance, blocking the exit. The students on the field were frightened. They wanted to run, but the leader of the group was holding a 5-shot gun and roared. "Shut up, all of you! Kneel on the ground!" He fired a shot into the sky. The deafening gunshot scared the students into squatting down. Li Fan frowned and stared at these people. Bai Lin Luo squatted beside him and whispered in his ear. "It's the yellow uniform group. All the hooligans here had a yellow scarf tied around their neck to prove their identity." Chapter 5:11. It can be said that Li Fan did not expect this group of people from the Yellow Uniform Regiment to play this big. Rushing into the school, kidnapping a student. This is enough to become a big case. However, Sun Jiaoyang did not show himself, but chose a subordinate that he was proud of. This kid is bald with a scar on his face. He directly aimed 5 consecutive shots at Lin Yuhsin. "Li Fan, fuck you, get out here." That scar-faced man roared. The 5 consecutive shots pressed against Lin Yuhsin's head. "This young lady is related to you, right?" Scar-faced man looked at the only one standing there. "Li Fan, weren't you very arrogant? Damn you, I'll kill you today. Come here and kneel." "I'm here, calm down, if there's anything, we can talk it out." Li Fan slowly walked towards Scar-faced man, but Scar-faced man sneered, "Kneel over here." "Did you hear me? I know you're strong. If you don't kneel over here, I'm a little afraid of you." "Afraid of me? You still dare to bring so many people?" Li Fan smiled, then said to Lin Yuhsin, "Don't worry, with me here, you won't be in danger." Lin Yuhsin had a shotgun pointed at her head, but she was not the least bit afraid. On the contrary, she was very calm. Everything is because of Li Fan. As long as Li Fan is here, Lin Yuhsin believes that even if the sky falls, it will not hurt her. She trusts Li Fan that much. Forced to raise, you're still a lover. Scar-faced man is a fierce bandit. His name is Stone. He has done all kinds of bad things since he was young. To him, as long as he lives, he will live. Back then, Sun Jiaoyang gave him a meal. He swore to repay Sun Jiaoyang with his life. Therefore, this time, under Sun Jiaoyang's incitement, Stone brought a group of desperados who also didn't care about their lives to this private No. 2 high school, ready to kill Li Fan. "Kneel, hurry up and kneel." Stone pointed the gun at Lin Yuhsin. "If you don't come over on your knees, I'll kill her." Stone's expression was ferocious, and he didn't look like he was joking. At this moment, a flying dagger suddenly stabbed into his palm, causing him to scream in pain. He subconsciously let go of the 5-shot combo. "Brotherly, I'll help you take care of him." A graceful figure floated over. Yin Tian Tian landed beside Li Fan with 4 throwing knives in her hands. Yin Tian Tian was very good at throwing knives. Just like Shaoli, she never missed. The dozen or so desperados were furious. They immediately picked up their axes and threw them at Li Fan. But Yin Tian Tian just stood there, throwing knives in her hands, knocking away all the axes that were flying towards her. The 10 or so desperados looked at each other and pulled out a pistol from their pockets. These pistols were crudely made and could only fire 1 bullet. After 1 shot, the gun was rendered useless. But it didn't matter. These pistols were enough to kill people. But these desperados didn't even have the chance to shoot. These 10 or so desperados suddenly had a bloody hole in their necks. Then, they spat out blood and knelt on the ground. "Who is it?" Stone roared. He used his uninjured hand to pull out a pistol from his pocket and pointed it at the place where the desperados were standing. A beautiful woman with an umbrella in her hand was standing there with a faint smile on her face. Li Fan was very familiar with this woman. She was the devil's sex assassin, Qin Meng. How annoying. I originally wanted to assassinate Li Fan, but it turned out to be so lively. Qin Meng sighed. Stone immediately raised his pistol and cursed as he pulled the trigger at Qin Meng. Qin Meng only held the umbrella in front of her. When the bullets landed on the umbrella, they bounced off as if they were hitting a steel plate. Caw caw caw. Although Stone had a good gun in his hand, he only had 7 bullets. After the bullets ran out, he was dumbfounded. He threw the pistol at Qin Meng. Qin Meng suddenly raised her hand and accurately stabbed the thin sword in her hand into the space between Stone's eyebrows. Before he could even scream, Stone's life was over. Qin Meng swung her hand and the blood on the thin sword fell to the ground. The students at the side cried out in shock. This was murder. They wanted to escape but didn't dare. They could only squat on the ground and shiver. Li Fan finally saw Qin Meng's thin sword clearly. It was different from the traditional Oriental longsword. Qin Meng was holding a Western thin sword. The handle of the thin sword was in the shape of a butterfly. It was very beautiful. The thin sword was usually hidden in the umbrella and would only be pulled out when it was time to make a move. Li Fan, it seems like you have a lot of enemies. Qin Meng said, however, your life is mine. Lord sect leaders said that killing you would give me a lot of benefits. Then I'm really sorry. I, Li Fan, don't want to give my life to others. Li Fan crossed his arms and stood in front of Qin Meng. Qin Meng suddenly put down the umbrella and used it to block in front of her. A few flying daggers flew over and hit the umbrella, but they were all bounced off. Yin family, do you want to interfere? It doesn't matter. This time, I have made thorough preparations. Qin Meng seemed to be very confident. She put the thin sword back into the umbrella and covered her mouth as she chuckled. Brotherly, don't worry. I will help you from the back. Yin Tian gave Li Fan a reassuring look. Li Fan nodded. Since that's the case, I can rest assured. With that, Li Fan took 2 steps forward. Qin Meng's eyes widened as her right hand gently touched the hilt of her sword. Seemingly because of the upcoming battle, a cool breeze blew. Yin Tian, who was standing behind, suddenly sneezed. Immediately after, Li Fan turned around and grabbed a flying dagger. It was unknown when Yin Tian had tied her hair into a ponytail again. She said coldly, Li Fan, I've finally waited for you to be alone. This time, I must kill you. Li Fan broke out in a cold sweat. Fuck you, what the hell are you doing? Tian, what are you doing? Li Fan frowned. Bah. Yin Tian looked at Li Fan angrily. Who told you to call my name? Go to hell. As soon as she let go, she threw out a few more flying daggers. But at this time, the umbrella blocked Li Fan and blocked the few flying daggers for him. I'm really sorry. Qin Meng said to Yin Tian, the thing I hate the most is to cooperate with others. He is my prey. Humph, a sword to the throat. Yin Tian also knew Qin Meng's identity. Just in time, I'll get rid of you as well. Yin family's little girl, your words are very presumptuous. Qin Meng didn't seem to put Yin Tian in her eyes. Your childish methods are far from enough to deal with me. With that, Qin Meng suddenly appeared in front of Yin Tian. Under Yin Tian's shocked gaze, the rapier went straight to Yin Tian's forehead. Chapter 5:12. Just as Qin Meng was about to kill Yin Tian Tian, a hand grabbed her collar from behind and threw her to the ground. Qin Meng laid on the ground and looked at Li Fan, who was above her, in surprise. I helped you take care of her, isn't that good? Of course not. Li Fan said, in front of me, you can't kill anyone. You're really an interesting person. Qin Meng had a smile on her face. No wonder Our Lady Saintess can't forget you. Holy Maiden. Li Fan frowned. Who was this Holy Maiden? He did not remember having any contact with the Devil's Sect's Holy Maiden. You really are a bastard. You actually have an affair with the Devil's Sect. Yin Tian Tian became even angrier. Go to hell. She waved her hand and the flying daggers flew towards him. Yin Tiantian's flying daggers were very smooth and flew towards Li Fan from all angles. However, Li Fan's eyes were filled with true energy and emitted a blue and white light. None of those flying daggers could escape Li Fan's sight. He stretched out his hands and easily caught all the flying knives in his hands. Tian Tian, do you have a double personality? Li Fan asked. Double your ass. Go to hell. Yin Tiantian's style of speaking was no different from a man's. She had returned to the Yin Tian Tian that Li Fan first knew. Yin Tian Tian threw out more than 10 flying daggers in a row. Li Fan knew that the storage of those flying daggers on her body was like an arsenal. However, Li Fan waved his crane hand and continuously hit Yin Tiantian's flying daggers away. Woman, I already said that you are not allowed to make a move. Qin Meng appeared behind Yin Tian Tian and at the same time, the thin sword in her hand stabbed towards the back of Yin Tiantian's neck. However, it was unknown how Yin Tiantian's flying daggers were used. 2 of them actually made an arc in the air and flew towards the back of Qin Meng's head. Qin Meng was also somewhat surprised. She retreated and dodged Yin Tiantian's killing move from behind. Yin Tian Tian caught the 2 daggers with both hands and put them away. The Yin family's flying daggers are indeed powerful. Qin Meng nodded. But can you move aside? If you want to kill this man, I'll kill him for you. Devil's Sect's lackey, who wants to associate with you. Yin Tian Tian and Qin Meng seemed to be fighting to the death. Li Fan was very helpless. This is my school. Both of you, get out of here. Looking at the frightened students, Li Fan frowned. Li Fan, how dare you talk to me like that? Yin Tian Tian held the flying knife. I'll kill you. Don't interrupt. I'll deal with you after I'm done with her. Qin Meng seemed to be advising Li Fan not to be anxious, but how could Li Fan remain calm? These 2 women didn't give him any face at all. Since that was the case, Li Fan would not be courteous. This has nothing to do with you. The 2 women ignored Li Fan. The 2 of them attacked Li Fan at the same time, wanting to force Li Fan back first. Li Fan had seen through the 2's moves in an instant. He struck out with both of his palms. Beating Tiger. Double. The 2 women were sent flying by Li Fan at the same time and fell to the ground. If you don't scram, I won't be courteous anymore. Li Fan said coldly. If you want to fight, go outside. Qin Meng was a little surprised. This Li Fan's martial arts seemed to be stronger than before. How is this possible? Qin Meng didn't quite believe it. In just a few days, how could Li Fan's strength improve so much? This is your 7-hero fist. Now that the 7-hero fist was ranked 10th in the Divine Art Manual, everyone in the pugilistic world naturally knew of this martial art. Yeah, do you want to learn? Li Fan winked at Qin Meng. I can teach you. This martial art of yours is not suitable for me. But the sect leader might be interested. Qin Meng sized up Li Fan. Tell me your martial art and I can spare your life. Stop teasing me. Li Fan couldn't help but want to laugh. You don't have the ability to kill me. Let your master do it. You don't have the qualifications to see my sect leader. Qin Mang mocked and ridiculed. What awaits you is only death. This will make you lose your fun. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. Then I'll play with you. Li Fan, you have to die in my hands first. Yin Tian Tian held two throwing knives, preparing to kill Li Fan again. She swung her hand and the two throwing knives flew out. These two throwing knives constantly collided in the air as if they could walk by themselves, constantly changing their direction. Only Yin Tian Tian knew how to use this unique method. Swish, swish. Li Fan was stabbed, but his figure slowly disappeared. Play ape. Li Fan's afterimage was too realistic that Yin Tian Tian couldn't differentiate it at all. Li Fan had already appeared behind Yin Tian Tian. With a crane nod, he poked Yin Tian Tian's acupoint, causing her to temporarily lose her ability to move. Qi Huang fist. Click crane. Li Fan accurately poked Yin Tian Tian's acupoint, and his true qi instantly entered Yin Tian Tian's meridians. Li Fan's true qi locked all of Yin Tian Tian's meridians, causing her to be unable to move. Even if inner force existed, the concept of hitting acupoints did not exist. However, Li Fan invented the click crane. Through this move, he locked the opponent's meridians, thus locking the opponent's movement. Yin Tian Tian looked at her own hand in shock. She was unable to move. What kind of situation was this? She had never encountered it before. It was as if his entire body had been frozen in cement. In martial arts, there was a move called hit acupoints. It caused the human body's blood to temporarily stop flowing, thus temporarily losing the ability to move. But locking the body was the same as hitting acupoints. This was something she had never seen before. Li Fan's click crane scared Qin Mang. How did you do it? Qin Mang couldn't believe her eyes. This was impossible. How could there be such a martial art? Hit acupoints. This was the nonsensical hit acupoints in movies and dramas. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Do you want to try? Li Fan looked at Qin Mang and shook his two fingers. I guarantee to send you to heaven. There were a few ways to hit acupoints with the click crane. Li Fan had only tried one of them. Why would I, your sister, be afraid of you? Qin Mang's feet bounced. Her entire body flashed left and right a few times before appearing in front of Li Fan. She grabbed the umbrella in her hand and instantly pulled out a rapier from the umbrella, thrusting it towards Li Fan. Li Fan raised his hand and slapped Qin Mang's rapier to the side. At the same time, his other hand used the crane's beak to tap out. Click crane. Li Fan's hand accurately landed on Qin Mang's acupoints. The true qi did not lock Qin Mang's body. Instead, it flowed through the 9 acupoints in her body. Qin Mang's face instantly turned red. Her mouth even let out an intoxicating moan. This was a move that Li Fan had learned from the 9 swords of extreme bliss. At this moment, he was using it on Qin Mang. Chapter 5:13. Qin Mang felt her body heating up, a kind of pleasure that she could not block at all, continuously jumping up to the top of her head. Her body went soft, unable to exert any strength. This move of Li Fan's was simply too lethal to girls. What kind of demonic technique did you use on me? Qin Mang clenched her teeth and asked. How is it? Is it comfortable? Li Fan chuckled and asked. This was the first time he used his crane finger of bliss. Li Fan's most ruthless move was to combine finger of bliss and acupuncture points together, making people unable to move while also enjoying the tide-like pleasure. That was the real pleasure. But Li Fan did not do such a sinister move, mainly because if he really used this move, that would be too wicked. Like Sima Fong, his 9 swords of bliss was to make people die in climax. Li Fan, on the other hand, was to make people collapse in climax. Both of them had their own merits, neither of them would spare the other. The two of you, have you played enough? Li Fan retracted his finger and looked at the 2 women. Hurry up and go back to where you came from, don't force me to kill you. Li Fan. This debt, I will settle it with you. The feeling on Qin Meng's body slowly dissipated. She picked up the umbrella that she dropped and put away her thin sword. She glanced at the few yellow-clothed gang thugs lying in a pool of blood and gave Li Fan a look. You're welcome. With that, Qin Meng used her qinggong and quickly left the school field like an immortal. Li Fan immediately reached out and unsealed Yin Tiantian's acupuncture points. Just as Yin Tiantian was about to curse, Li Fan patted her shoulder. Stop messing around, go and secretly follow this woman. See where she goes and who she meets. What right do you have to order me around? Yin Tiantian strongly resisted, making Li Fan feel that she was like a rebellious girl. Enough, stop messing around, the Devil's Sect is also eyeing Muronging covetously. You've helped Muronging by following her. Li Fan's words seemed to have moved Yin Tiantian a little. In her heart, it seemed that Muronging was the #1 priority. I'll let you off this time. Yin Tiantian was still spouting vicious words. She seemed to have forgotten that she had just been severely punished by Li Fan. Fine, fine, fine. Spare me. Go quickly. Li Fan was too lazy to argue with this fellow, so he let her be. Yin Tiantian immediately used her qinggong and silently chased after Qin Meng. Both of them were experts. Qin Meng was good at hiding, and Yin Tiantian was good at tracking. He didn't know if this woman with a sudden change in personality could complete her task. However, the pile of corpses lying here still needed to be dealt with. Li Fan felt a headache coming on. The yellow shirt group was still stirring up trouble. What should we do? After the 2 women left, Zhao Jieqi, who was clamoring to compete with Li Fan, seemed to have come back to his senses. He looked at the corpses lying on the ground and his face turned pale. He was just a student, when had he ever seen such a scene? Call the police, what should we do? Li Fan rolled his eyes. Since it was already like this, what was the point of not calling the police? Oh, right, call the police. Zhao Jieqi suddenly realized and hurriedly took out his phone. However, the PE teacher had already called the police. The yellow shirt group still dares to stir up trouble. Li Fan said to Bai Lin Luo, who was beside him, go and inform Ling Tian and help me find where Sun Jiaoyang is. I think I should take the initiative to talk to him. Okay. Bai Lin Luo nodded. After all, this matter was quite big. The yellow shirt group had gone too far this time. They actually stirred up trouble in the school. No matter what, the school was a place for learning. There were so many students here. If they stirred up trouble here, it would be too easy to hurt the innocent. Since Sun Jiaoyang wanted to do this, Li Fan couldn't be courteous to them. Bai Lin Luo knew what Li Fan was thinking. If he wanted to mess with Sun Jiaoyang, then he would have to help. However, at this moment, Sun Jiaoyang was sitting in a private jet at the airport. He took the satellite phone from Wang Baiqiang, who was beside him. After making the call, he frowned. Prepare to take off. Sun Jiaoyang tapped his pipe. If this fails, we'll take off immediately. Letting the fugitive stone go was Sun Jiaoyang's last resort. If he could really deal with Li Fan, then once and for all, he wouldn't have to leave City A. He could stay and help Wang Baiqiang rebuild the Yellow Shirt group. Wang Baiqiang had been in prison. Sun Jiaoliang had used all his connections and spent a lot of money to get him out of prison. He had gotten someone else to carry his case and go to prison. No matter what, Wang Baiqiang was his nephew. Perhaps Sun Jiaoliang had done too many heartless things in his early years and didn't have many descendants. He treated Wang Baiqiang as his son. Isn't Stone quite fierce? He can't handle him no matter what. Wang Baiqiang was a little angry. This Li Fan, is he an immortal? Top 100, you're still young and impulsive. Sun Jiaoliang sighed and looked at his nephew. This time, he had to take Wang Baiqiang with him. In this world, there are no immortals. However, there are some people who have some things that we don't understand. Sun Jiaoliang told his nephew, it's best not to provoke these people. But City A is our territory. Uncle, you worked hard to build up your family business here. Wang Baiqiang was very unwilling. Our brothers are here too. This is our route. When you come out to make a living, don't leave your roots behind. Sun Jiaoliang smoked his pipe and quietly reminded Wang Baiqiang, when you have roots, you will be pulled out and killed. But I'm not convinced, uncle. In this society, there are many things that we can't accept. But even if it's the chairman, he has to endure some things that he can't accept. Only a childish child would do things without restraint, do you understand? Uncle, all right, don't say any more. Sun Jiaoliang waved his hand, Li Fan is a ticking time bomb. As long as he's in City A, he's a threat to us. As the saying goes, where there's life, there's hope. If we change to another city, we can start all over again. I'm still a little unwilling. Wang Baiqiang was very upset. Was the foundation that he had taken over from his uncle going to be destroyed in his own hands? All right, rest well for a while. Don't think about this anymore. Sun Jiaoliang was still quite calm. If he kept being nagged by his nephew, his mood would definitely not be good. Why hasn't the plane taken off yet? Air traffic control. Sun Jiaoliang's beautiful chief flight attendant told him, it should be able to take off in half an hour. Contact the airport and urge them. Sun Jiaoliang became slightly impatient. A long night means many dreams. Chapter 5:14. Uncle, are you afraid of that Li Fan? Wang Baiqiang felt a little unbelievable. This is my uncle, Sun Jiaoliang. Who is Sun Jiaoliang? He is the legendary godfather of a city. Even if he retired, his legend is still spread everywhere in the underworld of a city. But today, Wang Baiqiang saw it with his own eyes and heard it with his own ears. His legendary uncle is actually afraid of a high school student. Uncle. He is old, bang. At this moment, the cabin door suddenly slammed. Sun Jiaoliang raised his head. A bodyguard standing behind him also subconsciously pulled out a pistol. What's the situation? Sun Jiaoliang frowned and asked. No, I don't know. The flight attendant was obviously a little confused. She didn't know what happened. The cabin door is closed. Could it be that someone outside smashed the door? This cabin door is very thick. Even bullets can't penetrate it. Who is making a move on the cabin door? Bang! The cabin door made another loud noise, and then it was forcibly pulled down by someone. Li Fan threw the cabin door aside and walked into the cabin. Sun Jiaoliang's bodyguard fired without hesitation. Bang, bang, bang. He fired 3 shots in a row, but Li Fan just clapped his hands and slapped the 3 bullets to the side. A bullet hit the wall next to him and bounced back to the bodyguard's leg, shooting him to the ground. It's not suitable to play with guns here, friend. Li Fan kindly reminded the bodyguard, then walked over and sat in front of Sun Jiaoyang. Mr. Sun, let's talk. Li Fan moved his fingers. Pour me a glass of Coke with ice. Thank you. There were a lot of good alcohol on the plane, but Li Fan didn't know these things. There was no need to show off. The beautiful flight attendant was stunned there and didn't know what to do. Pour it to him. Sun Jiaoyang waved his hand, and the flight attendant served Li Fan. Li Fan, although Wang Baiqiang was particularly strong-willed just now, he didn't dare to say a word when he saw Li Fan. His legs felt weak, and he didn't even have the strength to speak loudly. Lil Wang, we meet again. Li Fan picked up the cola and took a sip. Where are you going in such a hurry? We haven't caught up yet. Li Fan, what are you trying to do? Wang Baiqiang forced himself to focus and asked. Why are you asking me? Why don't you ask me what you want first? Li Fan tapped his fingers on the table. Mr. Sun, you've crossed the line. Brotherly, what do you mean by that? I don't understand. Sun Jiaoyang asked calmly as he smoked. My nephew and I are planning to go abroad to settle down. Why are you looking for me? Although he was pretending to be stupid, Sun Jiaoyang's words were very obvious. He was telling Li Fan that he had already planned to leave City A. He was probably begging Li Fan to let him go. Mr. Sun, the game isn't played like this. Li Fan laughed. When you feel that you can win, you keep making moves. When you feel that you can't do it, you beg your opponent to let you go. Then, how do you think the game should be played, brotherly? Of course, it's up to the person who made the rules to decide how to play. Li Fan looked at Sun Jiaoyang and reminded him, but Mr. Sun, have you forgotten that you're no longer the person who made the rules? You're just a failed player now. Brotherly, leave a way out for others in the future. Sun Jiaoyang said slowly, it's for my own good and also for your own good. Don't be too ruthless in doing things. Oh. Li Fan clapped his hands lightly. Do you remember this sentence now? When Mr. Sun sent someone to my school, he seemed to have forgotten this sentence. What should I do to calm brotherly down? Sun Jiaoyang tapped his pipe lightly. I'm also getting old. I just want to live in peace. You want to live in peace? Don't we want to? Don't the students of second high school want to? Li Fan sneered. Mr. Sun, aren't you living a little too selfish? Every man for himself, and heaven and earth destroy him. Sun Jiaoyang asked, brotherly, do you think there's any difference between you and me? Yes, just treat it as if there's no difference between us. Li Fan didn't want to reason with someone like Sun Jiaoyang. Since there's no difference, I should be like Mr. Sun and put my enemy to death. As Li Fan spoke, he slammed the glass into the table, leaving only the cup's mouth outside. Wang Baiqiang's heart was beating fast. Damn it. What kind of person is he? Is he a monster? Mr. Sun, have you thought of your last words? Li Fan asked. I'll fight it out with you. Wang Baiqiang jumped up and was knocked unconscious by Li Fan with a finger. Let my nephew go. Sun Jiaoyang slowly put down his pipe. I only have this one request. Li Fan looked at him again. Get out of Cydia forever. What made you change your mind, brother? Sun Jiaoyang couldn't help but ask. It's nothing. I've always been a person who depends on my mood. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. However, I have a question for you. Go ahead. Sun Jiaoyang didn't dare to refuse since he was already here. If he dared to say no, his head would be removed. What's the relationship between you and Sam? Sam. Sun Jiaoyang frowned slightly. That notorious arms dealer. Yes, that's him. I don't have any friendship with him. He should have some contact with the top 100. However, I've reminded the top 100 not to have any contact with such a person. So you have contact with him? A little. Sun Jiaoyang nodded. This person is a famous arms dealer. His means are unacceptable. Compared to him, my means are really not worth mentioning. Don't praise him or yourself. Get to the point. Li Fan couldn't be bothered to listen to this. This person has some business dealings with us. Sun Jiaoyang said, however, this person seems to be very interested in your matters recently. Really, so the yellow uniform group provided him with my information, right? Should be. Sun Jiaoyang shrugged. We're enemies. It shouldn't be complicated for the top 100 to sell your information, right? Yes, it's not complicated. Tell me how to find Sam. Li Fan asked a question that was very important to him. I really can't help you with this. Sun Jiaoyang expressed his helplessness. You owe me. Sun Jiaoyang looked at his unconscious nephew. Alright, I can help you lure him out. How? Arms deal. Sun Jiaoyang reminded Li Fan. He's a businessman and he has something special to sell recently. Chapter 5:15. A type of virus. Li Fan remembered that Sam had mentioned such a thing to him. It's not a virus anymore. Sun Jiaoyang said, it said that it's been improved. It's now a drug called Devil. Devil. Angel. These two names were really interesting. Oh, you know about Angel. Sun Jiaoyang sized up Li Fan. I thought a high school student like you wouldn't know about this. I'm just a high school student and I've already defeated the yellow clothes group. Li Fan's words made Sun Jiaoyang's face burn. Alright, perhaps you're not an ordinary high school student. Sun Jiaoyang coughed. Sam's experiment was successful. He developed a genetic drug that's cheaper than the angel drug and it's more effective. However, it has strong side effects. Those who overuse it will lose their minds and become a real devil. Li Fan pondered for a moment. It seemed that Sam didn't get the gene from him and turned to other methods to research genetic drugs. Obviously, it wasn't very successful. That was why there was the so-called devil. He wants to sell his goods. Sun Jiaoyang reminded Li Fan. As long as you want to buy it, he'll appear. Can I trust you? Li Fan asked. My name is Sun Jiaoyang. Sun Jiaoyang pointed at his nose. I'm a legend in City A. Maybe I'm a jerk but I always keep my word. Deal. Li Fan didn't want to waste time. He wouldn't be able to achieve anything great if he dilly-dallied. Then it's settled. I'll arrange for you to trade with him. Sun Jiaoyang said, when the time comes, I'll get you a new identity. An identity that won't make him suspicious. Do you still have the energy to do that? The Yellow Clothes Group is just one of my projects. Sun Jiaoyang smiled. Brother, have you heard of the saying that a cunning rabbit has 3 burrows? Deal. Li Fan patted Sun Jiaoyang's shoulder. This is your last chance. Believe me, even if you run to hell, I'll be able to catch you. Alright. Sun Jiaoyang was indeed a big brother. He was very straightforward. Just this once. We have nothing to do with each other in the future. Deal. Li Fan was also very straightforward. He and Sun Jiaoyang made an agreement. After he left the plane, he couldn't help but ask, I don't have to pay for the cabin door, right? I bought insurance, Sun Jiaoyang said helplessly. That's good. Li Fan smiled. Otherwise, I won't be able to live with my conscience. After all, I'm very kind. For the first time, Sun Jiaoyang wanted to curse. When Li Fan walked out of the airport, a black Mercedes-Benz was parked there, blocking his way. The car door opened, and Lu Xinan sat inside. She waved at Li Fan, and Li Fan sat in the car obediently. Are you here to give me a ride? Li Fan looked at Lu Xinan with a smile, but the latter rolled her eyes. You bastard! Do you know what a stupid thing you've done? What's the matter, Miss Lu? What's the matter? You've almost turned the whole of City A upside down. Lu Xinan reminded Li Fan. Do you still remember the history of City A, the Yellow Suit Syndicate? Yellow Suit Syndicate. What's that? Li Fan blinked his eyes and began to pretend to be stupid. You can be smug all you want. Lu Xinan said angrily, do you know how important the Yellow Suit Syndicate is in City A? Now that you've uprooted them, it won't have a good impact on City A. Isn't it better to uproot a tumor like the Yellow Suit Syndicate? Li Fan asked. I'm also a tumor, are you going to uproot me as well? Lu Xinan raised an eyebrow. That'll depend on your performance, young lady. Li Fan winked at her. Go to hell. Lu Xinan pouted. The only effect of uprooting them is that there will be a group of people who don't care about their lives and have no moral integrity to come out and divide up the territories left behind by the Yellow Suit Syndicate. Then I'll clean them up one by one. Li Fan said, someone has to do something, don't they? Anyway. City A is really a mess now. Lu Xinan frowned. Look at the mess you've caused. Hey, miss, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do. Li Fan lowered his voice. Moreover, it was the Yellow Suit Syndicate who provoked me first. In City A, I'll kill whoever provokes me, there's no room for negotiation. Li Fan. I know you're hot-tempered, but there are some things that you have to abide by the rules. Lu Xinan couldn't help but advise Li Fan, you've already alerted the Elders' Council by doing this. What the hell is the Elders' Council? Li Fan had never heard of this. Some big brothers in City A in the past. Lu Xinan took out a bottle of beer from the car fridge and passed it to Li Fan. After they retired, they still have a huge network of connections. Just like people like my father, they retired and couldn't stay idle, so they created this Elders' Council. The purpose of the Elders' Council is to maintain stability. That's so funny. Li Fan couldn't help but want to laugh. A group of gangsters came out to maintain stability. There are no gangsters now, Li Fan. Lu Xinan reminded him, even if we wander in the dark, we have our own rules. Usually, you can't see these people at all. But the power they have, even Yang ruining, and I have to be somewhat afraid. These people have their eyes on you. If you act recklessly, I really can't protect you. Why does Miss Lu want to protect me? Li Fan couldn't help laughing. It seems that I've been protecting you. Humph, we're just using each other. Lu Xinan said unhappily, if you fall, it won't do me any good. So, for the sake of both of us, you'd better stop for the time being. Don't fall into the hands of the Elders' Council. I'm a little curious about this Elders' Council. Can you please calm down? I'm begging you. Okay, I'll try not to make trouble. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. Did you drive all the way here just to scold me? Of course not, I don't have the leisure to do that. Lu Xinan kept the last sentence in her heart. Although I really want to see you, I really want to see you. Although she really wanted to see him, she wouldn't say such words. The Elders' Council wants to see you. Lu Xinan said the matter, so I'm here to pick you up. You see, I'm a student, I still need to go to class. Li Fan spread out his hand. Tell your elders council to wait for me after school. Hey! They won't wait at all. Lu Xinan was so angry that she had a headache. She kept rubbing her temples. My lord, please let me feel better. It's just to see a few people. What's wrong with that? This is a matter of principle. I'll invest 1 million in your company for free. Deal. Chapter 5:16. Li Fan happily reached an agreement with Lu Xinan. Lu Xinan drove him all the way back to the city center. It was raining in the spring, and the sky was already drizzling. This Mercedes-Benz 350 was driving slowly on the road. She was obviously a mafia boss, but she was very obedient to the traffic rules. The speed limit was 60, and the car was driving at 59. Didn't you say you're in a hurry? Why can't I see it? Li Fan looked at the slow car and couldn't help but ask. I'm a law-abiding citizen. Lu Xinan said very seriously. Yes, you leave the dirty work to your men. Will you die if you don't talk back? I'm just speaking the truth. Li Fan looked at Lu Xinan with a smile. My Miss Lu, is there no one around you who will speak the truth to you? You're annoying. Lu Xinan curled her lips, as if she didn't want to talk to Li Fan. This guy is so annoying every time. Talking to him was simply making life difficult for herself. The car slowly drove to the front of the Empire State Building and stopped. This Empire State Building was the tallest and largest building in City A. Those who could come here were either rich or respectable. They were all influential figures in City A. This was also the first time Li Fan came to this Empire State Building. He didn't expect that those retired mafia bosses would actually use this place as their base. This group of guys, they were living a good life. When you meet the elders, you must be careful what you say. Lu Xinan repeatedly reminded him, don't go against them, understand? Depends on my mood. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders, and Lu Xinan immediately glared at him. Okay, I'll try to be calm. Li Fan agreed first, the rest of the matter will be discussed when they meet. Very good. Lu Xinan heaved a sigh of relief. Thank you for maintaining this attitude. What are you thanking me for? Li Fan could not help but ask. As long as you don't make trouble, I'll thank you. Lu Xinan bowed to Li Fan. Why do you look like you're worshipping a deity? No, I'm paying respects to my ancestors. Lu Xinan seemed to be helpless against Li Fan, but there was nothing she could do about Li Fan, because Li Fan was special in her heart. Come on up. Remember, don't talk nonsense. Lu Xinan reminded Li Fan again. Li Fan rubbed his ears. Look, my ears are getting calluses. Conduct. Lu Xinan led Li Fan all the way to the 120th floor. The Empire State Building had a total of 120 floors. The top floor was different from the bottom. It was a very beautiful room, decorated with ancient style, richly ornamented beams and painted rafters, making Li Fan feel like he was in an ancient courtyard. And here, a group of old men sat around, the youngest of which was about 50 years old, the old ones had white hair. Li Fan felt that he might not even have sex. Sit. A white-haired old man in a Chinese tunic suit sat in the center. He crossed his hands and pressed his elbows on the table. Seeing Li Fan and Lu Xinan walk in, he looked like he saw two flies, his eyes showing a bit of disgust. And behind him stood a few black-suited bodyguards, each of them was an elite. Li Fan felt a murderous aura from them. These people should be involved in murder cases, not a single one of them was easy to deal with. And Li Fan felt his existence, in the eyes of that white-haired old man, was like an ant. There were a total of 8 people in the Elders' Council. These 8 people used to be famous big shots in City A. But that white-haired old man was obviously one of the best of them. He sat there, his aura was extremely strong. No matter who sat next to him, they seemed very small. "You're young, but you're quite brave." The old man still had his hands crossed, his eyes not looking at Li Fan, not knowing if he was talking to him. "Old man, are you talking about me?" Li Fan asked. "When I was young, I had a dog." The old man did not answer Li Fan, but continued, "This dog looked very cute, yes. It met me on the road and wagged its tail at me. So, I took pity on it and brought it home. But, it was disobedient, very disobedient." The old man continued, "It liked to pee in my house, liked to bite my things. I couldn't control it, this dog was too disobedient. So, I could only execute it." "Are you using a dog to compare me?" The old man's gaze finally fell on Li Fan. "You're wrong, that dog is much cuter than you." "Miss Lu, you heard that right." Li Fan laughed, "It's not that I'm not giving you face." Lu Xinan became nervous, this Li Fan was a donkey with a temper. You could go along with him, but if you were to go against him. Unimaginable. Wang Quan Fugue, this person was the chief elder of the Elders' Council. A legend like Sun Jiaoyang, compared to this old man, was not even worth mentioning. In City A, there were only 3 big groups, the Red Dragon Society, the Yellow Clothed Group, and the Vanguard Army. But in the whole of China, the most powerful gang was Dragon Hole. Many people in the underworld liked tattoos. But not everyone could get a dragon tattoo, only Dragon Hall could. This Dragon Hall had been the king of China for almost a century, and finally in the era of the crackdown, Dragon Hall began to change, from the underworld to a company. But even so, Dragon Hall's influence in China's underworld was still a heavyweight. Wang Quan Fugue was one of Dragon Hall's cadres. That year, he brought a group of people, parachuted into City A, and wiped out all the underworld in City A. Later, Wang Quan Fugue retired from the second line, and his 3 underlings began to come out, slowly making their mark, and became the 3 top figures in City A. So, even if Sun Jiaoyang came, he would have to respectfully toast Wang Quan Fugue, and call him Big Brother. "Old man, what's your name?" Just as Li Fan's voice fell, all the bodyguards in the hall pulled out their guns, and aimed at Li Fan. A total of 10 bodyguards, 10 guns, all pointed at Li Fan. Lu Xinan was unprecedentedly nervous. "Chief. Please don't be like this." Lu Xinan wanted to stop all this, but Wang Quan Fugue smiled. "Why, are you worried about your little boyfriend?" He said slowly, "Don't worry, I just want him to understand what rules are." "I'm not worried about him." Lu Xinan looked troubled. "I'm worried about you guys, he. When the old man heard that, he could not help but laugh. "Little girl, you used to be quite smart, why have you become stupid now? You can't be like this, how are you going to help your father manage the Red Dragon Society?" With that, his gaze fell on Li Fan. "Little friend, you only have 2 choices now. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.